This is one for the ages. What do we hit him with? Classic good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ahoy, mateys!
Argavast! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the final installment of the Nancy Drew game ranking series. Now, there is a little bit of nuance to this final episode here that we are going to have to get into. Let's wind back the clocks nearly 2 years now. Julian and I started a humble Nancy Drew series on this channel where we began ranking the games in order, just arbitrarily based off of a little system that we made. What were the 6 pieces of criteria?
Oh, Jesus, don't even pop quiz me.
Okay.
So, music, atmosphere, suspects, puzzles, story,
and the endings.
The endings of the mystery, yeah.
So those were our 6 pieces of criteria, and we went through every single game, and we gave it a nice review. We graded it from like A to F, and we threw in some A pluses and B minuses, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And the way that it came down was that we eventually made a ranking series where we cumulatively ranked up how everything scored and graded them all from worst to best per category. They're pretty fun videos. They're very long videos. Sometimes we had guests on, like Hugh Miller and a little guy named Arglefump. You might have heard of him. And it was a really fun time because we just got to sit down and shoot the shit and talk Nancy Drew with some Nancy Drew aficionados. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, there was kind of this, prestige to it that eventually we are going to make an episode where we rank everything together and cumulatively get these scores to determine the objective best Nancy Drew game of all time.
I was gonna say, keep in mind it is subjective, but at the same time it is objective.
Well, you see, that's the thing there, is that Julian and I tried, I think, once to sit down and make that list of cumulatively getting everything together, and we're instantly finding errors in our opinions, like, no, this can't be true, and we eventually didn't end up making that list because I think we overall in the end decided that, there is no objective way to rank the Nancy Drew games. They're for fun. They're everyone's own idol. Some people idolize Hauntings of Castle Malloy. People like me thinks it's, I could do without it. Mm-hmm. And so what we ended up doing is, with the help of a subscriber, the Magnificent Makovic, who also won a giveaway once for scratches, Magnificent Makovic actually went out of her way to make a scoreboard for every single Nancy Drew game, ranking them off of where they placed on everything, and then cumulatively, quote-unquote, objectively ranking them to see what is the worst and what is the best. Kaylee then intercepted this, turned it into a Google Slides presentation, and now she has graciously given it to Julian and I to react to blind. So you've heard us right. This is not so much us ranking the Nancy Drew games, but reacting to the ranking that Julian and I have unknowingly made of every Nancy Drew game from worst to best.
I'm excited because this is actually what our channel was built off of. This is pretty much the genesis. The culmination of our entire channel's mission from what we set out to be. So this is going to be really interesting.
Are we going to have a perfect list? No, I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever be able to make an objective list that pleases everyone of what the best and worst Nancy Drew games are. Mm-hmm. But it should be a fun time.
And we can go through this making our predictions too.
That's true. I wanted to pause real quick, and we can do that now.
Yeah. So my prediction for worst game: Shattered Medallion.
Shattered Medallion is your prediction for worst game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
You want to elaborate why? Like, what makes that worse than other bad games?
We never gave it any great reviews in any of the 6 areas, I feel like. It just always kind of suffered.
Shattered Medallion has some okay puzzles, but I can see that being number 33.
I think its atmosphere is maybe what it excelled most in, and even then, it wasn't even it never scored top 25, I want to say.
I would say that I like the Midnight in Salem atmosphere more.
Midnight in Salem, I feel confident, is not going to be the worst here.
Yeah, me too. I think the Midnight in Salem has some merits. I think, gosh, I almost want to agree with you on Shattered Medallion, but if I had to say what I think will be the ultimate worst game on this list, if it's not number 30, number 32 will be Danger by Design, since we made this list. Even though I have warmed up to Danger by Design a little bit, I am more aware that we hated that game when we first did the review.
I think that's going to be high 20s, but
we'll see.
More interesting question, though, is our predictions for first, and I do have a pretty clear prediction. I think it's going to be Final Scene.
Nancy Drew, the Final Scene.
I think that's going to be our best Nancy Drew game of all time.
Best of all time. That did win the game win the award for the best ending to any Nancy Drew, didn't it?
Best ending, and I think it also was in a few top 5s. I want to say for music and something else. Maybe atmosphere. I can't remember though.
All right. Now, I almost have a three-way tie here. I don't think it's going to be Shadow at the Water's Edge. I think Shadow at the Water's Edge is a fantastic game. It scored first place for story, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see. I think it's going to be a toss-up between Legend of the Crystal Skull and Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. I think that both of those scored first place in one or another category. It's possible that Last Train might take a little dive. Or no. Maybe Crystal Skull could too, because I don't think one of them scored very good on music. I don't know. It's interesting.
I think it's gonna surprise us, even though this is like we should know all these answers, which is the funny
we really
part,
should, yeah,
because it's just coming off of our own scores and nothing else.
That's kind of the gimmick here, is that for this last episode, it's us reacting to the list with you guys, and some of you may already know if you're Magnificent Makovic. But otherwise, one last question that I think is appropriate to ask before we get into number 33 on this list, and that is, putting aside any form of ranking, what is your favorite Nancy Drew game?
It's like the perfect conversation starter.
Yeah, it really is. For the people who've played them all. And it doesn't have to be like, don't be afraid of like offending the ones you love, because you're not going to be there to make them feel good about themselves.
Every game is some person's favorite and least favorite.
That is very true, yeah. If I had to just shoot right off the top of my head, I almost want to give it to two games. It's just two games that I love and I could sit down and play anytime. I might say Blackmore Manor or Ghost Dogs of Moonlight. Those are just two games that really hit the spot for me.
For me, it's Final Scene. Final Scene probably...
So you're going all in for Final Scene.
Final Scene, yeah. No, it's just always been like my favorite game. Final Scene or Deadly Device.
Ooh, very, very analytical games. All right then. Without further ado, two brothers heading in. Let's do it.
It all comes down to this.
Number 33. There may be a prefatory slide here. How it works. Okay, all of the game's placements in previous ranking series have been compiled together and averaged out to create an ultimate, finalized, best to worst, according to the data, list. So, the lower the score, the closer the game is to first place. Similarly, the higher the score, the worse the game is. In quotes, of course.
This is so exciting.
Jumping right into it. Here we are.
Oh, no surprises here.
Julian has taken it. All right, he's got it. Number 33, The Shattered Medallion.
Oh, this is so fascinating. I'm so glad they broke it down here.
Yeah, Kaylee did an excellent job.
Dead last in mystery, second to last. It was dead last in mystery and endings.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm so glad that we have this available.
So, Suspects it ranked 32. What do you think was the game? Oh, I know what game ranked worst for Suspects. Never mind. We're probably going to see that game not far from now.
Yeah.
Shattered Medallion. All right, so this is the game where Nancy goes to New Zealand on generic Survivor. And you'd think you and I would like this game, because in recent years, our family has actually really gotten into Survivor. The trouble is that the game is so scripted and there is no real competitive nature to it. I think this game could have had a really big place in hearts with the fans if they organized a way to make it so that there actually was a competitive nature, that you can get alternate endings where Nancy doesn't win and stuff like that.
It never did feel competitive. It didn't really feel like there was much of a mystery either, and the ending left you feeling so confused, asking more questions than what you actually got.
Yeah, because this was the Sunny June game. That was another place where it had a big pitfall.
Yeah.
I'm a Sunny June fan. I am.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, I wish he had a little bit more of a presence.
Yeah,
great character design though.
His story with Jin was a little all over the place. Sunny June has been foreshadowed for so many times. He really is like the Thanos of the Nancy Drew games in a sense. Besides Thanos, who I guess is also the Thanos of the Nancy Drew games. But beside the point, I think that this game had some pretty bland characters. Puzzles were generic because they were all corporately made by this game show. Music has its merits. It has some good puzzle-solving music. Atmosphere was where it scored the best. It's still pretty bad. That doesn't surprise me in the least. My personal prediction for next game, do you have one? I'm going to say Danger by Design.
No, I'm going to say 7 ships.
7 ships. All right. The next game, 32, is...
Whoa.
Oh,
okay.
That was a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, this is fair, actually. So, 1.5 points better, I think, than Ransom of the Shattered Medallion is Secrets Can Kill.
The OG, yeah.
Now, I think we actually only played the remastered version for this, which honestly might have been doing a favor to the original, because I think the original could have been number 33 for worst game.
Potentially.
Secrets Can Kill. We gave it...
How did this... Why was this last in Atmosphere?
Because it's bad.
Because it's just like...
It's a public school.
Yeah, it is just a public school.
It's easy to get lost in the hallways because they all look the same. It's very corporate. I think that's a very boring setting.
Puzzles is true.
Oh, puzzles was 33 also. Yeah, screw the puzzles in this game.
The puzzles were hilarious.
The one puzzle in this game that was remotely difficult was just poorly designed. It was the zodiac symbols at the end, where you can't even start it unless you see all of like 17 of like really obscure screens.
Yeah, I hope this was nobody's first ever Nancy Drew game.
And it probably would have been their only game then, I must say. Except for the people who played the original when it first came out. Felt something that they loved in it. But, you know, one thing I can't say nice about this is that the series only got better from Secrets Can Kill, besides game number 30. But still, that's a good note to leave that on. It did score decent on Suspects because, you know, my boy Hulk Sanchez and Hal Tanaka. Gotta love them. Those guys are some OGs.
Good personalities.
Up next at number 31. This has got to be Danger by Design.
I don't think so.
Whoa!
So interesting. We're getting a pretty big jump here.
Yeah, the leap was huge. We went from 30 on Secrets Can Kill to 25.67.
And look at the consistency.
Whoa, yeah.
That's crazy.
Constantly in flux between 26 and 25.
What are the odds of that? That's insane.
All right, here's something I want to say real quick. I'm not going to fight the ranking because it's already here, but I like Creature of Capu Cave, despite our ranking of it being the third worst Nancy Drew game of all time. This is a game I would sit down and play once a year.
I do not.
No?
No.
You want to elaborate why?
The mystery felt very flat to me, and I did not like any of the suspects besides Dr. Craven. He was pretty fun.
He's cool.
Dr. Quigley sucks, and I hate all of her puzzles.
She's a little too nasally for me.
There was not much to do other than the extremely traditional, like, fishing seashell collecting over at Big Island Mike's. And I didn't even like Pua that much in Big Island Mike. The suspects really did not enchant me much at all.
I'm kind of astounded that this only got 25 for atmosphere. This seems like a good game for atmosphere in hindsight. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. I just wish there was more to explore.
I never really enjoyed it that much.
I remember...
And it had tedious, pretty horrible puzzles, too.
Yeah, okay, some of the Frass puzzle. I hate the Frass puzzle. That's a bad one. I have fond memories in my youth of going to the library, to their CD-ROM section, and seeing what Nancy Drew games they had in their little pirated, printed black and white covers. And when they had Creature of Capu Cave, I was always excited, because, you know, I wasn't that critical of the games back then. I was just like, whoa, another interactive CD-ROM adventure! And so I would pop into this game, and it would be bright colors, and I'd be on the beach, I'd be in Hawaii, and the Hardy Boys were there. And I think little 9-year-old me has fond memories of that game that I just can't seem to extinguish, despite how shitty this game can be on a replay.
It's, you know, something that... The music for this game, maybe we were a little too tough on, because the music is
pretty catchy.
Pretty catchy in Cave.
It's very niche music.
But another thing is, it's all, like, the tracks are all very similar, too.
The ending does suck. I agree with that ending.
The ending sucks, yeah. Not good. Okay. Not too shocking.
Not at all.
But
no.
I'd say the most shocking part is the consistency. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
30. Come on, Danger by Design. It's gotta be.
I don't think so.
No way!
Yeah.
No! What were we doing?
No, this doesn't surprise me that much. Well, actually, the Suspects does.
Now I feel like this is a more objective list than I thought, because we're already putting two games that I personally enjoy ahead of a game that I hate, being Danger by Design.
You have to keep your emotions in check, because the mystery... There's no frickin' mystery for the first hour.
All right, my bad. You can have that.
The Suspects...
Why is Suspects 31, though? What?
Yeah, that's... Well, okay, Alejandro just is so dumb. Not a good suspect.
Okay, but Taylor Sinclair is worth like 4 suspects in of himself. I love him, and I love Henrik. What was I thinking when we made this list? This game is a nostalgia bomb, I'll be fair.
Puzzles are not that good either.
Okay, puzzles are kind of trash.
Music is great.
Music is fire. That's like...
That's a little surprising.
Okay, I can see why that wouldn't rank super high, because it's got like 3 really good tracks, and then like Gregorian chanting. Yeah. It kind of doesn't
Atmosphere is pretty good. It's just really like concise.
Atmosphere was its strongest
suit.
And
then when you get out of the museum, then it really sucks.
Oh yeah, it is just the museum.
So I mean, but exploring the temple, going down each layer, that's fun and everything. The ending is kind of cringe.
The ending is cringe, but it's like the good kind of cringe.
So
well, I'm gonna just throw my predictions out the window because I can clearly see that we're gonna make everyone angry with this list, myself included.
No, I'm gonna guess next is...
You still want to say Ransom? I don't think Ransom will rank that low.
I think it's gonna be Ransom. Ransom or, yeah, let's just say Ransom.
Oh, and now I'm right. Now I'm right, okay.
Interesting.
So, Danger by Design never actually took last place for any game. Holy shit, 12th place for Suspects? Were we smoking something?
I don't understand anything.
What? There's no way. Who's the good suspect in this game who got it that much goodwill? Jean-Michel sucks. Jing sucks.
How is this game better than Scarlet Hand Suspects?
What?
By a wide margin.
What is going on?
That is confusing. Are we sure Kaylee didn't get this wrong?
No, this seems familiar. Wow.
Interesting.
Okay, we do have... Minette is an icon. Minette is cool.
Yeah.
Ezer McKee. She's a very easy to associate character.
Dieter's kind of
I like Dieter. Dieter's a big player. But man, Gigi and Jean-Michel, I would take Alejandro Del Rio and Joanne Riggs over them any day. This was a 5-player Suspect game, so that does get it a little more swagger in that realm. But man, music, I agree. Music is a good music in this game. It's my favorite part about it, easily. Oh, you know what? Hugh made this list with us, didn't he?
Oh,
damn it,
God.
Hugh! What have you done? The Hugh Miller effect!
Hugh skewed the results.
Everyone go and subscribe from Nancy Drew walkthroughs right now. I am just kidding.
Hugh was hardcore selling this game. That's coming back to me.
Okay, yeah, you know, he's coming back to me, and I think the reason that we allowed him to have his input in here is because
Suspects episode with us.
But not just that, but because I said I will allow you to put Danger by Design in the top 15 if you allow me to put this game into the top 5.
It's coming back to me.
Yeah, because that was kind of the idea. I wish we had more guests on, but there were never so many people available with the Nancy Drew ethos. We had people on to balance out the bias, because otherwise, I think we said multiple times, Danger by Design will be last place every time.
That's funny.
Damn. So, there's some flaws in here. Endings 32, I don't even know if I agree with that. Mystery 32, I can see that.
What?
Puzzles 31, no, puzzles should be 33. Fuck the T-puzzle. Respectfully.
Yeah, it does have... So, mystery puzzles and endings are in the top worsts. That's kind of fair.
Atmosphere and music is doing alright, and God, I can't believe you.
Yeah,
Hugh.
that's just shocking.
Hugh, comment down below. Give me your best defense right now.
Alright, moving on. Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
So
I don't like that.
Definitely hits on the nostalgic feels, but I think we do need to also look at it through the objective lens.
Message in a Haunted Mansion.
What we did. So, I remember being... Dude,
Oh.
I remember being in love with this music, like, to this day. The mystery track.
The music is fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So it's no surprise to me that that's the top score. But otherwise, very consistent across the board, other than music, which obviously stands out for a good reason.
Okay, I recently played this game with Kaylee on stream. It was her first time playing, and I had a blast with it because this is a really fun, bite-sized game, is what I would call it. Music is definitely really moody. It's such a cliche setting, and I kind of wish that Her Interactive would just keep on taking the cliches and running with them. And I guess they do, because we have 3 spooky old mansion games that come to mind. More if you count, like, Castle Malloy and stuff like that.
It did have really flat suspects.
Suspects are garbage.
Some confusing, horrible puzzles in-game. And the atmosphere, not that it's necessarily bad, but very limited.
Now, let's think of something nice to say about this game, something unique. Because, like...
The music, it's amazing.
Okay, the music is great. When it comes to the suspects, Lewis is like... He's just a meme of how obvious he is.
Lewis Chandelier, yeah.
Kaylee actually did not suspect Lewis.
I know, she was telling me that, and I was like, girl, how is it not obvious to you?
It's kind of funny. And also we had Charlie, played by Ned Nickerson.
Yeah,
that's the reason this game scored bad for endings. We never got a resolution for Charlie. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
Despicable.
The poor guy was homeless, and they didn't think to tell us anything about what happens to him. Wow.
Rose wasn't that good of a character either. Abby kind of was.
Message in Haunted Mansion, I love you. You are probably one of my top 10 favorite games.
Whoa, what? I don't know.
Okay, maybe not that, but you're a game that I can play again and again because you're just such an experience. Also, I have you on the Game Boy Advance. Moving on. Okay,
okay.
This is This is deserved.
15 on mystery, Jiminy Crickets.
Midnight in Salem. Yes, I remember that I fought tooth and nail for this game to get its representation in mystery and suspects. Because from an objective basis, the game has a lot of suspects. I want to say 5 or 6 of them are quality suspects. And the mystery is pretty solid too. It had twists and turns and a lot of really good things that happened in it. Puzzles, music, atmosphere, and endings. Screw all of those. Besides atmosphere. Atmosphere can hang. It was cool. But I did not like the puzzles.
There were barely any. The ending was really terrible too. Like, you just go through that entire ordeal in the mansion, like underground, and then you just have a 10-minute conversation with the judge.
Oh my god, I don't remember, but I don't think you could skip conversations in that game.
No.
That was a feature we got in Ghost of Thornton Hall. Why couldn't we have that again, Her Interactive?
Yeah.
Costs you nothing. Man, so Midnight in Salem, I mean, let's be real. This game was met with harsh scrutiny. If we want to talk about the context of its release, there was a 4-year gap between this and Sea of Darkness. Maybe even longer than that. All I know that it was long enough to kill off all but the diehard fans from the fan base. And when this game came out, like, you couldn't even evaluate it objectively because it just wasn't going to be enough. You had to make like Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon on steroids with DLC to make those people feel like it was worth the wait. So I feel like Midnight in Salem is a victim of its circumstance in that way. Even so, puzzles, music, and endings are trash.
It was bad.
There's some things.
I hate the start of the game too. In the castle.
Yeah, it was so overambitious. Like, why did we need to make this castle in Austria to start the game?
They didn't. Just delete that part and then focus on retexturizing some of the town graphics or the NPCs or something.
It's like if in Ghost of Thornton Hall, Nancy is like solving an archaeological dig site mystery at the beginning of the game, and she gets a call from Savannah Woodham saying, "I need you for a case," instead of Nancy waking up in her bed where she should be, getting a phone call from Deirdre saying, "I need you for..."
Your skills are required for a job.
Basically, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. So Midnight in Salem wasted a lot of time. For one thing, that one doctor, Elizabeth Hurst, she just exists to become a phone character and give Nancy commentary throughout the game after the beginning in Mosum Castle. I'm due for a replay of this game eventually. It's gonna happen.
I know, I kind of am too.
But in the end, I think that Mystery and Suspects could stand on their own 2 feet. I don't want to spoil too much of it, because I know a lot of people probably don't know the end of this game, and it is still kind of a Nancy Drew experience. You've got some familiar faces in there. It's worth at least one playthrough. I will tell you that, Nancy Drew fans, because you gotta know what you are or are not missing.
Just don't set your standards very high.
Yeah, music was okay. I liked that the night tracks were bad and good.
26. Okay, no
all right,
surprises.
Here comes the JCat hate comments. We had a little bit of a leap there from, what was that, 24 to 22.5? Not that big. Haunting of Castle Malloy.
Well, it scored decent in music, atmosphere, and endings.
Yeah, that's nice. Mystery, not so much.
Yeah.
The mystery to this game, kind of dry. I mean, when we say mystery, by the way, we also are meaning the story in general. The story to this game, Nancy goes to a wedding at an old demolished castle, and the groom has gone missing, and you don't know if it's a prank or a practical joke or what have you. And the characters, gosh, this is a 3-character game. We've got the bride, we've got the best man, and we've got Donald Delaney, the drunken barkeeper who believes in fairies and leprechauns. That's probably why it got 27 for Suspects. There's only like 3 Suspect games in the series, if even that many. And Ghost Dogs and Moonlake is yet to come. I'm scared of where Ghost Dogs is going to place. I love that game so much, but it won't place high.
No, I think it's going to be top 15.
I'd be impressed.
Okay. Yeah, puzzles were terrible for this game. Freaking sheep dying and
the sheep stuff.
Stupid OtterBox.
The OtterBox!
No, there was very few puzzles I enjoyed out of this game. And like the wedding table shenanigans. It's just...
Oh, the wedding table... Okay, that's an alright puzzle. That's a logical one. I'd hate the ink press and the dyeing and all that.
Oh, yeah.
This game was also... I think the reason we gave the atmosphere... No. I think mystery, the reason that it's weird, is because this game is weirdly too silly. There's a lot of silly stuff in this game.
Yeah, it is. Jetpacking everywhere. Like, come on.
Giving the sheep purple mohawks. making fruity drinks for the old man at his Irish bar because I guess Her Interactive didn't want to put alcoholic beverages in the game.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
It was a little immersion breaking.
There was the one Guitar Hero puzzle where you have to fill in for Denal with the drumsticks. Also, accents are terrible. I hate Denal's accent in this game. With Kit, they didn't even try. Nancy's like, since you're Irish, how come you have an American accent? He goes, aha, because I was born in America, or something. And it's like, cool. Good job, Kit. I believe you.
Good talk.
The ending. We can say some good things about the ending of this game. It's a very unique ending.
Yeah. It had a decent resolution.
I like
the puzzle. The chemical rocket puzzle.
The chemistry puzzle. Oh, where you blow everything up.
Yeah, another reason why puzzles is so high.
Exactly. Man, when it comes to endings though, just that one picture of what was it, Kit Foley meeting his new wife, and it's like so poorly photoshopped. Mm-hmm. The end game letter for this had some of the most criminal Photoshop in the world. Mm-hmm. I will place some of it on screen. The picture of Fiona in like a rehabilitation home.
It's so cringe.
Oh my gosh.
Just put zero effort into it.
I mean, sometimes they don't need to because it's like, haha, you've already played the game. What do we care if you have to watch a terrible slew of Photoshop? Custom Alloy, I like this. I think this game is worth a replay. I need to play it I haven't played it in a long time. It's definitely not one of my favorite games. I might put this in my top 5 least favorite personally, but it has merit. It's just a very niche game in my opinion. Sorry, J-Cat. Moving on to 25.
Okay.
All right.
Ransom, yeah, I knew this was coming.
Let's get into it.
So it's worst in Suspects for obvious reasons.
But it scored 12 on music. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised it scored better than, like, Scarlet Hand for music.
Well, don't forget the Johnny track. Johnny track goes hard.
Oh, yeah. And there's a few that are crazy.
It's very good music, I think.
Great atmosphere, too, so that wasn't a surprise. And it did have good puzzles. Like, the puzzles were all very diverse.
Uh-huh.
Crazy stuff you do.
Now, let's, should we address the controversy? Because I feel like that's got to come up when we ever talk about Ransom of the Seven Ships in present day.
One stupid puzzle one stupid suspect, and he's in blackface.
Yeah, that's a weird topic. So, I don't want to get into complete spoilers for this list, because I'm sure that it'll just be picked up by a lot of casuals, but this game has one suspect who is fond of disguises. That's the reason why Suspects is 33 in this game. And the first disguise that this suspect has is of a Jamaican man named Johnny Roll. And, you know, he's got, like, dreadlocks and the hair beads and all that. And he's just kind of a beach bum who sits around and fishes all day. At some point in the game, he reveals to you that he's actually an Australian man named, I forget his name, it was a very bland name, and that he's on the run from some dangerous people, and he's trying to lay low and just live his humble life on the beach and whatnot. And so, you know, it was obviously a lot of criticism that it was a white man who was pretending to be this Jamaican dude on the beach. One thing that I don't think I understand about that, though, is that there are white Jamaican people. And that's something that I think people forget, is that Jamaican is like a nationality and a culture, not really necessarily a race. But I definitely understand how this was met with a lot of backlash at the time, because there was just a lot of bad looks for it, that the game has one suspect who is trying to be 3 different suspects, and they kind of ethnically clash with each other at times. And also, the accents suck.
One thing I wanted to say before moving on is they definitely did not capitalize on the mystery or, like, scary factor enough, because there is one great scene where Nancy's looking out with binoculars, and she can see that someone else is on the island, or she sees, like, the reflection of other binoculars, or I forget exactly what it is, and I think there really needed to be, like, at least 1 or 2 other instances of Nancy feeling like she was being stalked on the island. That would have been sweet.
That's really weird, because this game, I think, confirms by the end that there are multiple people in on the kidnapping, but they never actually do anything to, like, put you in that sense of fear. Yeah. And I feel like it's a wasted opportunity in that way.
It was wasted.
Now, real quick, let's address some of the high scores. Music is fire, we said that. Puzzles. Now, here's what I want to say, like, definitively. Say what you will about the Suspects and Ransom of the Seven Ships, it was removed from Her Interactive store for a reason. Hardest game, in my opinion. I really think that this is the hardest Nancy Drew game on Senior Detective.
Mm-hmm. It's got a really brutal endgame puzzle, too.
Yeah, the endgame puzzle is one of the only puzzles I've ever played that is designed to be spoiler-proof. It changes every time you look at it, because it wants you to test yourself. You can't just go online and find an easy, simple guide like, yeah, you know, push the buttons in this order and you win. It is a spoiler-proof puzzle that you must solve with a riddle, a very comprehensive riddle. Otherwise, we have underwater Sudoku. If you don't like Sudoku in the first place, try it with a time limit. That's a lot of fun. I have never solved that without using the exploit where you pause the game so you don't run out of oxygen. Oh god, what else? There's a slider puzzle. There's a jigsaw puzzle that then turns into a slider puzzle once you solve it. That is like comprehensive, compounding Nancy Drew puzzles. You've got scuba diving, you've got, for atmosphere, you've got scuba diving, sailing, rock climbing, spelunking, golf carting, and walking along the beach with a metal detector. It's a very, very big game, and such an expansive game does not disappoint when it comes to fun places to explore. So yeah, I think that these high scores are well-deserved, and some of them may even deserve to be higher. I would honestly say that unless you really, really want that mystery perspective, Ransom of the Seven Ships is always worth a replay to challenge yourself. This is the final boss of Nancy Drew difficulty puzzles. It's really, really up there, besides Manette, but you know.
This is true.
I want to say, before we move forward, I'm afraid that Ghost Dogs is going to be coming. I don't know if Ghost Dogs will even escape the 20s.
No, and Ghost Dogs has got to be under 20, but...
I do not share your optimism, but I hope so. 24.
Coming to 24. Secret of the Old Clock.
All right.
Another not shocking placement, but gee whiz, music is too.
Oh my god. Whoa, that is disparate. That is like the largest diversity in scores we have seen yet. It scored 19 in atmosphere as its second best, and then 2 for music.
If it wasn't for that, the overall score would be like 26.
Oh my god. All right, so this is deserved, I feel. And I think this also kind of points out the flaws in our system, because Secret of the Old Clock is personally definitely not one of my favorite games. This could be in my top 5 least favorite, if you ask me. I don't know about you, Julian, but this game seems almost like a novelty game on its auto playthrough, because it's supposed to be an adaptation of a lot of the old classic Nancy Drew books, and that's really cool. And I wish that they did more games like that. But on a replay, it's like if you want that vintage aspect, I'm going for Shadow Ranch every time. Shadow Ranch just did everything better, and it did it all first when it comes to adapting an original Carolyn Keene Nancy Drew book.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it clearly depicts in our rankings that music is the only good thing about this game. There was nothing else that stood out.
The atmosphere is a gimmick at best.
Yeah, atmosphere is a little diverse because you can drive around the town, talk to a few people and whatever, but I mean, like, nothing else was fun. It wasn't that good. For puzzles, suspects were very, very bland. I mean, geez, talk about the banker.
Jim Archer.
Jim Archer is as worse as a suspect as it gets, if we're being honest.
He does nothing. He kind of just looks like a piggy bank, which I think is funny because he's a banker, but he had no substance to him. He just kind of existed as a subplot for the end so that you can uncover this safety deposit box.
And Emily was not good either.
Emily...
Such a Debbie Downer. Same with Jane.
Jane was alright. Topham, I think, steals the show.
Topham was the best suspect, but that's still saying something. Like, it just wasn't that fun of a Nancy Drew game.
Topham was the best suspect just because he's an asshole. It keeps him entertaining the whole way through. The dude is so pretentious, and he talks like a complete clown.
I say it's a very fitting placement. It is not that great of a game.
Yeah, and I don't think any of the puzzles are at all memorable, unless you threw in maybe Creepy's Corner, and that's just because stylistically.
But its music will continue to live on in my head forever.
Yeah, it's
way too catchy.
It is. 23 now.
Phantom of Venice. Okay, kind of surprised that this made it as far as it did.
Now hold on. This scored top 10 for puzzles. We have number 8 right there. So that is impressive.
There were some good puzzles, yeah.
You will notice, though, that this game scored behind Secret of the Old Clock for suspects.
Yeah.
At 30.
Broke the 30s for suspects. That's because they all suck.
Yeah, they really do.
Like, there's not one redeeming suspect from this case.
Enrico Taza is cool. I do like him. But he's not in the game enough to really even count as a suspect, if you ask me. I mean, you kind of know he's guilty, because you're going undercover to meet the dude.
Yeah.
And I think there's only like 2 real times in the game where you talk to him. Right. And most of that is just playing cards with the man.
And look, endings is nearly in the 30s.
Oh my god,
too.
the ending to this game is so shit.
Yeah, it's because it's absolutely terrible.
The ending would have been a lot better if it wasn't dragged out. It's a very weirdly structured game. There's a stakeout where you actually catch the Phantom, which is this guy on the screen right now, the dude who's the cover art of the game. But the mystery doesn't end there. After that, you have to go solve this crazy logic puzzle in the sewers of Venice, which Julian and I did blind on our Let's Play of this game, which I'm still kind of astonished that we figured that out eventually.
But also, it's so terrible after that, the sequence of the chase with the Stay Tuned for Danger music playing.
Yeah, it's old recycled danger music.
Too.
Yeah, music scored really bad because we really held that against this game in the music rank.
Yeah, this game just wasn't that fun.
Okay, but there are nice things to say about it. This is a very challenging game. I could argue top 5 most challenging Nancy Drew games on a blind playthrough.
Yeah.
Or just even a no spoiler playthrough, because you and I had played this game before and we had some difficulty. It was a fun time. Atmosphere is cool. It's Venice. It's hard to beat Venice. It's very unique.
I liked the chess puzzle. That was so amazing when we solved that.
The chess code to talk with the smugglers. It's a game that really rewards a studious player, but it's difficult to give it your attention all the time when you've got such bland suspects and kind of a wash when it comes to the setting in some ways. Because it's got Venice stuff, but it's not quite fully Venetian.
And the dancing sucks.
Oh, the dancing's horrible. I hate the club.
Sucks.
22 now.
Stay tuned for Danger.
All right. I'm
just
proud of you.
mentioned.
I'm proud of you. Stay tuned for Danger.
Yeah, you made it. I'm sure you blew away some people's expectations making it this far.
For context, I think Julian and I played this game after we played Midnight in Salem. Like, that's how long it took for us to play Stay Tuned for Danger. Because this game is notoriously very difficult to get your hands on.
So suspects and endings stood out very well, and they almost go hand in hand.
They
because
do.
What made the ending so amazing is you can accuse all the suspects.
Yeah, gosh, this is... I want to say real quick that this game is scored decently on here, but this game is worth a playthrough if you've never done it before. Go online, you can find a very long tutorial on how to download Stay Tuned for Danger today. It's not easy, but it's worth your time if you're an ND superfan like us. Gosh.
The suspects were hilarious.
Yeah,
too.
what was this, a 5 or 6 suspect game?
I think it was maybe 6.
If you go off of everyone that you can accuse...
If you're including Bill Pappas?
Then you might have 7 suspects, because, I mean, let's count real quick. Nancy can accuse Lillian, Rick, Dwayne, Millie, Rick, Maddie, that's 5, and then Bill Pappas and Ralph the security guard. She
can't accuse Ralph.
Can she not?
No.
Okay, then she can't accuse... So is there anybody else?
No, I think it's just a good 5 suspects.
That's 6 people you can accuse, though. Still, that's... Oh, that's crazy for a game.
Yeah, it was very fun for the second Nancy Drew game. It was an impressive second game. And
the ending itself is... It's just some top-tier voice acting. I don't think I want to give away the real shocking twist here. But it's a good time.
And it did fall flat pretty heavily in atmosphere and puzzles too.
Yeah.
You know why I remember why I hated this was because it's just copy and pasted hallways and I would get so lost. That's why it sucks.
Part of that was the navigation, but you're totally right. The hallways in this game, especially in worldwide broadcasting, were copy and pasted the hell out of. Puzzles is 29. That is also deserved because the puzzles in this game are nearly non-existent. I'm trying to think of a single puzzle I can say a nice thing about.
There's none.
Just gotta be something. I mean, I'm proud that Stay Tuned for Danger made it this far, because this is a really funny game. I know that that's not, like, something that we rank here, but I'd say that this and Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon are 2 of the funniest Nancy Drew games if you really just sink your teeth into them.
Well, let's see what 21's got for us.
All right.
Any predictions? You're just gonna guess a game out of thin air and get it right?
I actually, yeah, you know, I will. I think that, I still think that Ghost Dogs is not gonna escape the 20s, so... Sure, let's say Ghost Dogs.
I'm saying Shadow Ranch.
Shadow Ranch, really?
Yeah.
That's gotta be top 10. Shadow Ranch is fire. Do you bros know what else is fire?
Alibi and Ashes.
Alright, that's fair.
Breaking the overall score under 20 now.
Alright, so this is the first game to average under 20 points. Nice. 1983. Suspects 11. So Suspects was... Ending was the strongest suit for this game. And I can see that. It's a good, fun ending. It's very unique. Because this is one of those games, only a couple times it happens, where Nancy discovers who the culprit is, and then the game doesn't end there. There's like at least 30 minutes to an hour of gameplay from that point.
Why did we shred atmosphere like that?
Because it's bad. The atmosphere in this game is terrible. There's an ice cream parlor. There's a police station.
Yeah, I guess
an antique store. It feels like I'm just walking around the town I live in. It's just so Midwest.
Yeah, and it did not have good music either.
The music was garbo. I politely, I will respectfully say that.
But fun suspects. I mean, everybody was fun to talk to.
Yeah, I will say
you got to learn a lot about like town interactions and what people view and think of other people.
I like the suspects in this game just because they're so well written to be horrible, hateable characters. Because I hate Brenda Carlton and I hate Tony Scolari.
But I like Alexei.
Alexei's great. He's a good dude, but Alexei hates you if you're playing his best. There's a lot of hate going around in this game.
Oh yeah, that's another reason Suspects is so fun, is because different interactions based off who you play with, which is so cool.
I think the way that it manually works is that each character has each suspect has a character that they prefer and will be more honest with. So Alexei, for one thing, he hates Bess, but I think he likes George. And then Tony likes Bess and is very just stone-walled to everybody else. And I think Brenda
likes Ned.
What?
Who likes Ned? Brenda?
Deirdre.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
obviously.
Good old Nedgar.
I don't know why I even asked that. I just, for some reason, didn't rule her as a suspect. Yeah. But she is a suspect.
She is in this game. Good old Ned Stiffer. So yeah, we got Deirdre. Music and atmosphere scored terribly. Mystery and puzzles scored all right. And suspects and endings scored really up there. In fact, endings cracked the top 10 just barely.
Yeah.
So on the whole, Alibi and Ashes is not one of my favorite games, but Kaylee's recent playthrough of it, I think, kind of attests that she thought it was a lot of fun, even though I do think it personally has some shortcomings. So number 20.
Coming into the top 20 Nancy Drew games now.
I'm still holding on. No, if it's not Ghost Dogs, I'll be happy.
It's not Ghost Dogs. It's Silent Spy, baby.
It's Silent Spy. Ooh, okay. That's a controversial take, I think.
I don't think so.
Well, I know that I've made it
Silent
vocal.
Spy is a very middle-of-the-road game. I think that's fair.
A lot of people really like this one, though, because of how much Nancy lore is wrapped up in it. I'll be fair, I do not like Silent Spy. I like Capu Cave more than Silent Spy.
I like Silent Spy, but I don't think it ranks with the best.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see here in the scores, it's all pretty middle-of-the-road, besides Atmosphere, which we pretty much nuked.
Yeah, that's true, because this game takes place in Scotland and has little to nothing to do with Scotland, besides haggis.
Oh, no part of this game, well, just one part was top 15, and that's Suspects. It had decent Suspects, but...
So, cumulatively, it was better than Alibi and Ashes, but score-wise, Alibi and Ashes scored better than two of the aspects here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the game just couldn't decide what it wanted to be, and that's why Atmosphere fell short, because you get such a crazy, diverse, like, oh, little peaceful cabin, and then it turns into this weapons shop.
Yeah, this was a very, very silly game.
You can't have both. You just have, like, crazy spy shenanigans, or you have peaceful Scotland.
It was a different experience. I see now that Suspects is number 15. Ewan... I did not like him.
Ewan sucks. Didn't like Moira much. I liked Alec a lot.
Alec is good.
And then Zoe.
Zoe / Bridget / Samantha Quick / whoever. She's a pleasure, and she's kind of just a legend to have in the game because of the whole Nancy Drew mythos that she's wrapped up in. Otherwise, puzzles in this game were pretty deadly. I remember there being a lot of difficult puzzles. Beware the Jabberwock, all that stuff.
There were, yeah, this game was difficult.
And the ending was pretty cool because, you know, Nancy thwarts a terrorist attack without giving away too many spoilers.
Well, the only highlight is the phone call with Carson at the end.
Yeah, that is pretty intense, honestly.
That was a very heartfelt ending, so it was good. I would say maybe we were a little too tough on that, but...
In some ways, yes. In other ways, maybe not enough.
But there's also just so many Nancy Drew amazing endings, so...
Yeah, and couple that with all the flashbacks in this game.
Let's see what 19 is. Jamie still thinks Ghost Dogs.
I'm happy the Ghost Dogs escaped the 20.
I believe that we'll see Shadow Ranch before Ghost Dogs.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be weird almost. I prefer Ghost Dogs.
I don't know, what do you think Ghost Dogs is going to suck on?
Because I remember...
Okay, like, 19.
Ooh. There's a tie coming.
Oh, whoa.
We had two games. That's a funny picture.
Wow, that's interesting. So it's going to be an exact average of two different games' scores. Interesting.
Oh,
are we ready?
Whoa. What do you think is it? What is the odds that it's a Shadow Ranch Ghost Dogs tie?
I mean, it's not out of question.
What? Okay, take a second to guess. Turtle the Twister could be one of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's coming up too. I would say it's gonna be Trail of Twister. And that's a good choice. Trail of Twister and like maybe Ranch. I don't know.
Maybe Labyrinth of Lies. That hasn't come up yet.
That's true. I feel like those two are due.
I'm gonna say it's Trail of the Twister, Labyrinth of Lies, or Ghost Dogs Moonlight. Because I'm basically just bracing myself for Ghost Dogs to get slumped. Here we go.
Tomb of the Lost Queen and Haunted Carousel. We were both wrong.
Wow. Okay. 19 and 18 right here. We got a 2-for-1.
I don't know why I didn't think of Tomb of the Lost Queen.
Okay. Good. Let's starting question right here. Which game do you like more? For me, it's Tomb of the Lost Queen, no question.
That's difficult.
I mean, they are honestly apples and oranges, but
I guess Tomb of the Lost Queen. But it'd be very close. That's not an easy decision.
I have a lot of... I mean, you see, I hear a lot of people talk about how Haunted Carousel was their first game, and there's a lot of hype that they get for that. And me, personally...
I think only Argofump says that.
Well, no, I've met a lot... You're not in the Discord as much as I am. A lot of people love Haunted Carousel, because it's one of their oldest memories of playing this game. For me, on the other hand... I have a lot of nostalgia for Tomb of the Lost Queen, because I remember when this game was coming out, I was still a young whippersnapper. I was in, like, 2nd grade, and that was really exciting for me.
Well, let's compare the scores hand in hand.
So
definitely a better mystery on Tomb of the Lost Queen. Suspects were 22 and 21. That's interesting.
Puzzles, oh wow. I think I'm seeing where the big weighting came in here. Puzzles, the first 3 scores, Tomb of the Lost Queen beats Carousel, and it blows it out of the water almost. 9 to 20 when it comes to puzzles. However, music
sucked.
There is your problem. Music scored 32 out of 33 for Tomb of the Lost Queen.
It's because every track sounds like the same track.
Kind of, yeah.
It's not good.
There's a lot of
I mean, it's good, but it's not diverse.
Yeah, it's nothing that you want to, like, enjoy or, like, kick back and listen to. Whereas Haunted Carousel music scored 10.
It has good music.
It does, and it's got the band organ, too. It's very, very groovy the whole way through. It makes you feel like summer fun. Atmosphere, Tomb of the Lost Queen got 22. Okay.
And then Haunted Carousel sucked. It's because you can't walk through the park.
Yeah, that was a huge downfall to Haunted Carousel for me. That's really held it back for us, is that it's the only game that takes place in a bona fide amusement park that you can't even explore. You just have a map screen.
Yeah, that was cringe.
And the hotel sucked. It's the same hotel as Secret of the Scarlet Hand and probably another game that I can't even think of, where it's just a boring room. Nothing happens in it.
Now, I do agree with the ending analysis. Haunted Carousel had a great ending. Exploring Kessler's workshop, especially before the antagonist comes into play.
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
That is a good one.
I thought it was great. And Tomb of the Lost Queen was great too, because it felt like very serious with the storm being outside and we're stuck in a tomb with somebody who's trying to kill us.
There's like several moments where there's a game over sequence in the Tomb of the Lost Queen ending, and the ending even had a culprit reveal fake out where it seems like it's one person and then it's another. Or actually, I guess it was multiple people. I don't know. It's an interesting ending. I love John Hammond, whatever his name is. Not Hammond, that's the guy from Jurassic Park. John Boyle, he comes in and smacks him in the back of the head with a dinosaur bone or something. That was a pretty absurd moment. Wow.
But I think Haunted Carousel does have the better ending.
I would say that too. It's a very iconic secret passageway.
And then finding Joy's horse too and everything.
Yeah, the horse.
What does the letter say? Oh Joy, you're finally here or something.
Oh Joy, this is it. That's what the banner says. Yeah, this is one of the first major instances of Nancy solving someone else's birthright. She does that a lot. Wow.
Well, let's face it, Joy wasn't doing shit.
That's true. She was kind of miserable. She was joyless, as Harlan would say. On the whole, though, Tomb of the Lost Queen, I would say no shot. I prefer that game more. And a lot of that is my personal preference, but it also just has a lot more meat on its bones. And that's kind of just the product of it being a game from another era. I mean, this is game 26 versus game 8. So, in some ways, I feel like it's a little harsh to judge them the same way. But I know that Haunted Carousel still has its merits, and it's due for a playthrough every now and again.
It's a much more close decision for me, but I can respect where they are.
Moving on to 17.
White Wolf.
White Wolf of Icicle Creek.
With pretty consistent scores, ranging from only 13 to 19 in every area.
That was a pretty big jump, though. We went from 19.17 to 17.17. So 2 whole points.
What do you think number one's overall score is going to be?
Oh my gosh. I'll bet number 1 is everything in the top 10. So that's probably one way to gauge it.
I doubt that.
You think? Everything top 15 at least.
Maybe. Okay. White Wolf. I mean, I think the scores reflect that it's just like overall, there's no weak spots and there's nothing that really stood out either.
Yeah,
it's just a great fun game.
I think that this game gets a lot of love from the fan base as being the big winter game. Everyone loves this game for a wintertime playthrough. I see people streaming it all the time, and for that reason, I think that it doesn't matter what you rank it. Everyone's always gonna love White Wolf.
That's why it's a little confusing. Atmosphere was so middle of the road because it really exceeded in making the player feel like cold.
Yeah, it does, but I also feel like it just lacks that diversity. Kind of like how the Tomb soundtrack is all the same thing. This game is almost all cold, except for when you're in the sauna and like be dying.
Suspects was weighed down by some bad suspects and then some great suspects too. Like, and I didn't really like Guadalupe much at all.
You know what it was about Suspects, I remember? It's that the game is structured in a way that you can actually play the whole thing without ever meeting Guadalupe or Yanni.
Oh.
Do you remember hearing that?
Yeah,
I've personally never done that, but it's super easy to not meet them ever.
I didn't really like Yanni much. I thought Ollie kind of had the most personality of the gang.
That's true.
And his daughter was nice too.
You're really missing out if you don't meet Lupe, because the Ollie and Lupe subplots and the fights they get into, that stuff is crazy.
Oh, Bill
and Lou. Yeah,
Bill and
Lou's
too.
excellent adventure. Gotta love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm forgetting someone extremely important. Some people.
Alright, so Bill is a sadist because he loves Fox and Geese. But Lou is a cool dude. I kind of like that he's a punk. He kind of makes Nancy feel like an old lady because of how much of a little shit he is. Because he's like the arguably most hipster character in all the games, I'd say. I don't know. He and Manette are kind of like that. Man. So, music scored higher than all the other things in this. We had 13 for music. I say that's deserved.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
It's a great soundtrack.
Its music makes you feel cold.
It does, yeah. It's so much like a xylophone?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like guess the instrument type of thing. It's like really bizarre things.
Triangles and chimes and all sorts of stuff like that. It feels like the wind
some
blowing.
like slide whistle type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I can't say what it is, but it's great music.
A good time on the whole.
So, averages out to be a good game, just not great.
Yeah, but I think that seasonal factor really
16.
does.
Ha ha ha.
Oh,
Labyrinth of Lies.
Wow, you pulled a fast one on me. Labyrinth.
I
wasn't ready for that.
endings.
That's true. You see, that's the one. No, that's one of the ones. Wow. Okay, I remember. It got 10 for Suspects, and that was me fighting with Hugh. I told Hugh that he could let Danger by Design be number 12 if I got to let Labyrinth of Lies get into the top 10. And Hugh put his foot down so hard that he pulled me all the way back to 10th place for Suspects on this.
What did you want them at?
I wanted it in the top 10 handily. I was arguing, I think, even, well, maybe not top 5, but
I remember you being a maniac about it.
yeah, I thought that this game was a complete sleeper for Suspects because there's some real drama that goes on.
It's interesting to see the atmosphere differ so much from endings.
Yeah, museum games are really hit or miss because a lot of the time the museum is the cool part.
It's been done before too.
It's that this game has so many set pieces from a player, and if you're not a theater kid or a Percy Jackson kid growing up, then this game might be really hit or miss for you. I know that a lot of the vibes were hit or miss for me. Music is fire though. I love the festive track. I'm sure that I'll be playing the festive track in this video at the moment because it's just so good. That's like an all-time Nancy Drew banger, but it really is the best part of this whole soundtrack.
And the ending, of course, was very unique. That's why it scored so high.
Gosh, I don't even want to get into the ending. I know that Arglefump did the endings list with us, and I'm pretty sure that I thought I might have had to sell him more on the Labyrinth ending, but he seemed to agree, if I remember correctly. I don't know, Michael, defend yourself if I'm misrepresenting you right now, but I was pretty sure that we were all in agreement that Labyrinth was a top 5 ending, which is a very almost sudden decision to make for a game that had some attributes as far back as 29.
It wasn't just like who the antagonists or antagonist were.
Yeah, it was also...
It was like the letter from one suspect leading up to things. And
there was a clever endgame puzzle, a lot of dramatic events that occurred, and just a real sense of urgency altogether. This was a pretty much a high-stakes mystery, I'd say. And through the Hardy Boys, you even learned that you're working with Kronos, the organized Greek mafia syndicate, and all that stuff.
Yep, no playing around.
This was taking the gloves off, like you're playing with the big boys now kind of game, and I liked it for that. Puzzles in this game, we should also say, did score really high up. It's 12. This is, again, one of the more difficult games, I would say. It is game 31, so the further you go in the franchise, the more difficulty you tend to find. And I want to say that it makes the game ripe for a replay. I always say that nothing makes a game have more replay value than genuinely challenging puzzles. And this is just a perfect example of that. I've probably never beaten this game on Senior Detective. No, I definitely haven't. I've only played it through it a couple times.
Yeah, you'll get stumped a lot, but the puzzles aren't, like, extremely aggravating like Fox and Geese.
A lot of them are historical.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the special interest crowd comes in. People who have an affinity for ancient Greek culture and the sort. They're the people who are going to be drawn to this game more. And that's cool that it's a thematic game. And personally, I'm not even that big into Greek culture. We said it over and over, but we were Harry Potter kids growing up, not Percy Jackson kids. But overall, this game, I would say, is largely underrated. Because I know a lot of people just can't get into it. They say it's Secret of the Scarlet Hand 2.0, where it's just a museum game with no real exciting mystery.
Yeah, it didn't reinvent the wheel at all.
Definitely.
Besides the ending. That was a new wheel.
Yeah. they made the wheel too with this ending.
Yeah.
The ending has its surprises, which is why we're going to talk about it vaguely, but it's a pretty unique experience if you wanted to play this one through yourself and try to give the mystery a go.
Coming in at 15. We're now in the top 15.
Yeah, this is officially the better half of the games, according to us. Actually, 16 was, because there's 33, but still.
Trail the Twister.
Oh, right.
Look at that. Puzzles at 4. Wow, Suspects 20. Some of these are just, like, kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, I need a second to just take this in. So, Mystery 22, Suspects 20, Puzzles 4, Music 18, Atmosphere 11, and Endings 22. Endings 22 hurts me. That's painful. I love this ending. I think that part of the reason I love this ending is because I love the Suspects too.
Yeah, why did Endings get so high?
Suspects and Endings are both lists that
Did
Hugh and Michael
hate that?
I know that this is Hugh's unabashedly acclaimed worst Nancy Drew game. Hugh says 33 for every list when it comes to this game. And I'm pretty sure that Michael was not the biggest fan of this one either.
No, I didn't think so.
So this is really the Jamie's opinion gets thrown out the window part. I love this game. This is a top 10 game for me. I'll say it. I think that the Suspects and the story are very compelling. The game is very realistic. The dialogue that you get to have with characters when you're driving around and solving puzzles gives it a worldly feel that you never really see replicated.
And it was great for puzzles. The only thing that kept it worse, I mean, from Rising Up was like the repetitive mouse, I'd say.
This game, it has a shot at being, I would say, the best puzzle game. That is a valid argument you can make. Because this game, it's like buying a bulk puzzle workbook. The story can lack in some places, but you're going to get puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. And they're going to be fair puzzles.
Yeah, they just berate you.
The biggest problem, I'd say, is the mice puzzle that is recycled 4 times. But there are worse puzzles to have a player repeat over and over. More real quick, I gotta say, we didn't even bring up Fox and Geese when we were covering White Wolf of Icicle Creek. More points off for Fox for Icicle Creek, because Fox and Geese is a horrible puzzle. I hate that. Andrew, if you're watching this, I don't know how you like that at all. Just thinking of puzzles like that makes me realize that puzzles in this game just aren't that bad at all.
Yeah, I can name, like, from the start of the game, so many fun puzzles. Like, the Sirens puzzle's very fun.
The shopping puzzle.
The shopping puzzle, restarting the truck with...
Yeah,
with Chase.
Getting the dash lights display.
Yeah, the dash light display. Okay, there was also the sprinkler, which was broken on Senior. That was terrible.
That was horrible on Senior Detective. That puzzle... was so bad.
It was evil.
That we had to get a spoiler in our first episode of the playthrough.
Yeah, and that was such a Debbie Downer too.
Yeah, and then
Frosty's camera's a fun puzzle. Fixing the TV even. Like there's a lot of good puzzles. Right. The filing cabinet.
Filing cabinet's good. Solid logic puzzle to kick off the game. Building a tornado. We already said that one.
But the end-game puzzle, too, with looking at the pictures of tornadoes and having to match the numbers on
that
them.
one was always very comprehensive, and in the past, we never really understood how to do it. But on this most recent playthrough, we got a pretty good grip on that game.
Yeah. Sorry, we're just praising the game's puzzles. It was clearly the only thing that was noteworthy in our rankings.
Atmosphere was good. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, it set out what it achieved to do, which was this small-town, little rural feel. And it was great at that.
And the music, I mean, music and atmosphere are like hand in hand with this one. It's the bread and butter of Trail the Twister. Man, Is there anything that I really don't like about this? I think that the culprit reveal and the culprit motivation is very, very compelling, even though the rest of the ending can be a little flat at times. So I understand why this was ultimately given 22 for endings, but damn, I'm a fan of this game. This is a game that I could sit down and replay over and over just because of the virtue of how fun a lot of the puzzles are. And the mega renograms when you're fixing Frosty's camera.
That's what I said, Frosty's camera.
Yeah, that was the puzzle we needed in Shadow at the Water's Edge. Ooh, where's Shadow at the Water's Edge going to rank on this list?
Easy top 10. But
that could be best now that I think about it. I may want to reconsider my picks. That's a really good game. That is I know it got first place for one of them.
While we're still here, let's just guess our top 5.
Okay. So we're gonna just put out the order.
Yeah. So I'll go first. I think the top 5 is going to be Final Scene number 1.
Okay.
I think 2 will be Water's Edge. I think 3 will be Sea of Darkness. I think 4 will be Royal Tower, and 5 will be Deadly Device.
Deadly Device top 5 would be crazy.
That's my guesses right there.
I mean, I know that you're kind of basing this off your opinions. I think Deadly Device might not make top 10 if I'm being totally honest with you, because that thing got trashed on the atmosphere ranking. I think.
We'll see. Time will tell.
My picks for top, I still gotta go with my gut. I said Last Train or Crystal Skull for number 1. I'm gonna lock in for Last Train.
Oh, I forgot Crystal Skull. Shoot.
Okay, well, you'll figure it out. So, by virtue, then, I will say Crystal Skull is probably going to be at least number 2, then. Number 3, I've thought about it. I think Deception Island is top 5 easy. Deception Island is a solid game.
That's going to be interesting.
It won music, didn't it? It was in first place for the music list, I think.
I was just going to ask, have we seen a single number 1 pick yet?
We have not seen a number 1 pick yet,
yeah,
which is interesting. We saw number 2 is Secret of the Old Clock. That was almost number 1, but we just barely gave it to Deception Island, if I can remember correctly.
Right.
So I'd say 4th place then. 4th place, I could see Royal Tower. Royal Tower is a nostalgia bomb. People could play that game tomorrow and have nostalgia for it next week. So, I mean, that can make top 5. And then the 5th spot, I would definitely not give it to Deadly Device. I don't think I can make it. I think Shadow Ranch could be number 5. It's just an all-rounder. If it's not Shadow Ranch.
But yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely not going to be Deadly Device. It would rather be Crystal Skull.
All right. To clarify, my top 5 list from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 goes Sea of Darkness, Treasure in the Royal Tower, Deception Island, Legend of the Crystal Skull, and Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. I'm locking in.
It is late at night, and we are cracking energy drinks to go over the last 14 best Nancy Drew games according to our unbiased opinions.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty intense one. I'm just having a mug of coffee, but Julian is busting out. Is that a sour apple ghost? God, how can you drink those? I thought it was good the first time, but those are like painful to drink.
They're absolutely delicious. You know, Vote for Holt should seek a sponsorship with Ghost.
Yeah, because now Bang Energy has gone out of business. Very sad. We're very torn up about that. But besides the point, we've given our top 5 predictions. We're sitting down again to finish off the list now. 15 was Trail the Twister. I can abide by this. 4th place for Puzzles. Very astounding. Are we ready for 14, and do you have a prediction?
Yeah, let me think.
You said Shadow Ranch won't make top 10, didn't you?
I said it won't make top 10.
Do you think it's going to be 14?
Maybe not.
I think 14 is going to be... Oh, we haven't talked about Captive Curse. It could be Captive Curse.
I think that'll make top 10 barely.
Oh!
What do we have? Was it Waverly?
I think it was Waverly. So yeah. I know now that the mouse wheel, will actually show me the next thing if I toggle it. So I will not touch that anymore. Waverly, number 14.
Wait,
now,
that was quite a jump, right? In overall score?
Yeah, it was.
Wow, 3 in Mystery and Suspects.
That's okay. So you can see something happened here.
Weighed down by its music and puzzles.
Yeah. Ending was middle of the road, so that's good. Mystery in Waverly Academy. It's a great setting. We gave the atmosphere a decent setting. The only problem is it's too small. Nancy goes to a boarding school to solve a mystery, and everyone there is a bunch of preppy, pretentious high school girls who are about to graduate, and they are all candidates for valedictorian. And at this school, it's such a prestigious school that whoever's valedictorian basically gets a full ride scholarship to whatever college they want to go to. So it's a really big deal, and someone is sabotaging the competition, so the people are dropping like flies, as they put it. And
I thought it was just a very easy to follow and gripping mystery.
That's true.
But it also just kind of like it had that little layer of not relatability, but like living in the dorms while playing this game like really goes different. It makes it so much more fun.
It really adds just the whole experience, kind of the gossip stuff. Now, here's something I want to take a moment to address. Suspects on this part. This game has Corrine, Izzy, Mel, Leela, Rachel. That's 5. Then, debatably, a 6th suspect, which I won't mention because of spoilers. So this is a game that more or less has a minimum of 5 characters. And Nancy gets thrown right into the middle of them. Then you add 2 more girls who have been sent away for allergic reactions and traumatic claustrophobia. That's 2 more people. So like at most you have 8 different characters in this game who, while all of them are not present all the time, they still have an established presence in the world and people talk about them. And the end result is a very lived-in game that is super compelling to play. Now, music. The worst part of this game, and it hurts me to say that, because I really like all of the tracks that were originally composed for this game. And unfortunately, that's like 4 tracks, and then the other 8 to 10 tracks are all instrumental covers of classical music.
Yeah, and even when you have great music with only just 3 or 4 tracks, it sort of does get to be a little repetitive, too.
It does weigh it down, because, I mean, one of them is very well done, and that's that, Mel Corbelis is a cello player, and so whenever you walk by her room, it's a great piece of the atmosphere, to be honest, but I count it more as atmosphere than music. You hear her playing the cello, and she just goes up and down her cello scales like she's practicing. Sometimes you hear her play Bach. She starts and stops, and it's a lot of fun. But then there's stuff like Giuseppe Tartini violin, and
oh yeah, that's just
the violins out of nowhere.
I forgot they do that.
There's a piano piece that is very out of place. I forget the name of that one, but it's super dramatic. It starts and stops.
There's a piano puzzle in the game.
There is, yeah, but the violin is a little too long. It's not just that there's so much instrumental, but the instrumental tracks are all like 4 times the length of the other ones. So the music lacked, I mean, it had almost too much diversity in that way. Because like the study track and the gossip track and all that stuff, they're very, very fun and bouncy. The storm track is really intense. That's a great one for making progress in the game. So this one scores at 14.83. Endings 15, you know, it's good endings. Puzzles 24. I think we were a little too hard on puzzles in this one, because I think our biggest complaint was probably the Victorian dining set puzzle.
No, there was just bad puzzles.
There are bad puzzles.
The piano puzzle was also pretty crappy.
Because I would say it's a bad puzzle just because of how difficult it is to put the perspective of the full scale of the keyboard into 2 different screens. So even using the star as reference, it's easy to get confused and not sure what scale you're looking at.
There were also, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense for the game, but I got tired of homework assignments.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Just some of them were fine.
I liked
some of them were fine, but you know which one I really hated was the like getting all the girls' interests in hometowns puzzle.
Yeah,
there were too many variables in that for that puzzle to like be done.
It's a really challenging logic puzzle. And I will give it some credit, because it's a puzzle that you can't just drop in and remember the answer to from past playthroughs.
No, definitely not.
But it's not always a fun time to grin and bear that one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thematically, Edgar Allan Poe stuff, very cool. Novel setting. I love that it starts to snow halfway through the game. That totally got us points for the atmosphere. And I think we're ready to move on to number 13. Now, would you say this would be Shadow Ranch?
I don't know.
Say right now what number you think Shadow Ranch would be.
I think Shadow Ranch is going to be 12.
I think it's going to be 9 or 10. 10 at the highest.
Okay, but let's guess 13. I'm guessing 13 is...
13.
Maybe Blackmore?
Oh, that would hurt me. I like Blackmore much more than Shadow Ranch.
I'm just trying to think of it through, like,
through logically, like, what hasn't been said yet. Treasure in the Royal Tower's days are numbered, I think. I think it's going to be top 10.
You're an insane person.
Okay,
all right,
13. That's not true.
Ghost of Thornton Hall.
Oh, wow. That's a
2
sleeper.
for mysteries.
And 2 for endings.
With the worst music.
Oh, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
Man, all right. This is a grievance I have with our list.
Oh,
okay,
man.
This has a claim to be the best game of all time. Like, no joke, just flat out. On these 6 criteria, if you averagely weigh it on all of these, then yeah, music is gonna hold it back, because the music in this game is almost non-existent.
Yeah,
if you remove the music score, this probably shoots way, way up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna calculate that real quick. What this number would be if we remove the music. Go ahead and start spitting if you want. If you have something you want to say.
Yeah, I knew not to rank this. I knew it wouldn't be top 10 because of music. Music, it just had, like, it felt like every track was the same, and it wasn't good at all. Like, it was just, like, I mean, it was fitting for the game, but it was that eerie little, like piano and, like, chimes in the background, and then that woman singing. And that's, like, every single track.
All the music in this game was very, very ambient. There was nothing in it that was really melodic or substantive. Nothing catchy from this game.
Right from the get-go, very captivating mystery, because we're dealing with, like, dark, real shit, you know? Like, missing people, deaths in the family, and you just get very invested immediately. And the suspects are all very diverse, too, with what their takes on the family, their opinions of each other. They're not afraid to let Nancy go. Like, just give Nancy all the family drama, essentially.
I'm back with that number now. If you remove music as a valid source of critique for these games, this game scores an average 9.4.
Okay, but you have to count music. It's one of the most important parts.
It is, but even, I mean, I'll be honest, when I play through this game, the rest of it holds up so well that sometimes I don't even miss the music. Music is something that you take with you from the Nancy Drew game. When you're actually playing it, a game can get by without having music. But I don't know.
It also felt that in puzzles for reusing the goddamn clock puzzle. Especially in the end game. It was a terrible end game puzzle.
That was a shit end game puzzle. We also saw the nonograms reused on the door and on the fountain. And really, my biggest problem with puzzles in this game is that there is an absolute dearth of puzzles. Looking at you people from the ND Speedathon, a dearth of puzzles for the first hour of this game. The first hour is talking to people and exploring, and you will not find a single puzzle until, like, gosh, what is the first puzzle in this game? You don't get any before Wade. You can make tea. It's probably the riddle, maybe, that you get. You get a
Fixing
riddle.
The phone or something?
No, that's kind of a puzzle. You can fix the phone right out of the way, but that's just putting things together and finding things. It's well over an hour, even on a casual playthrough, before you really sink your teeth into the puzzles in this game.
I don't even totally mind that, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly one of the things that makes this game easy to introduce people to, is that they don't get mercilessly wrecked by this onslaught of puzzles as soon as the game begins. Which has happened. Like I've said, this is the Nancy Drew gateway drug right here. I've started more people on this franchise with this game than any other.
And I'm forgetting what we did. Did we warp in, like, the hauntings with the atmosphere or something? Like, I can't remember what we did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Or maybe we did that with mystery. That was probably what we did.
Could have been both. The hauntings are very good. I love the hauntings.
The hauntings are great.
They really keep you on your toes, especially on a first-time playthrough. It's always like, ooh, jumping at shadows sort of thing. And quite literally.
Before we move on, we have to talk about how the ending is superb.
Oh,
because there's 3 different endings, and so they're amazing. They're all different, and one of them is just way crazier.
Yeah. We'll give a little bit of credit to where it's due. As much as I hate the game, Danger by Design is the first game to actually have a true alternate ending, where Nancy just has a slight change in the endgame letter, depending on dialogue she picked when talking to Ezer McKee. This game, however, has 3 completely different endings with completely different paths you take. I think it was the first game to really capitalize on it since. Smaller games have probably had little differences in between Danger by Design and Ghost of Thornton Hall, but Ghost of Thornton Hall is definitely best remembered as the game where Nancy makes fateful decisions. In short, Nancy gets a good ending, a bad ending, and then a very nebulous in-between ending, which I think is our favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely mine. It's where, like, you do save Harper, right? But then you let Clara die, and then the endgame letter says, I should have said, casual spoilers.
Spoilers.
But yeah, and Nancy's like, people say that now there's 2 ghosts that haunt the manor, and it's so amazing because it's Clara and Charlotte, and Clara's responsible for Charlotte's death inadvertently, and it's just amazing.
It's poetic justice in a very tragic sense. My only problem with that ending is that that's the ending where Wade becomes distraught, and he leaves, and Savannah tries to meet up with him and just gets ghosted by him, no pun intended.
That's fine.
And
set it up for a sequel.
Well, I mean, that's very sad. I feel like that's setting it up for not a sequel, because...
You know what? We don't always need a happy ending.
The Nancy Drew loser in me, the Nancy Drew fan loser in me, is still holding on for a game someday where we have the Savannah Wooden return with Wade, and I think that'd be so awesome if they were like a double phone contact or something. Ghost of Thornton Hall, I love you, and you honestly probably belong in a top 5 of the objective best. I'm sorry that the music hurt you so hard. Are we ready to move on to 12, Julian?
Yes!
Alright, before you click it, I just want to hear from you. What is a better game, Shadow Ranch or Curse of Blackmore Manor? Just say objectively, what is
Curse of Blackmore Manor.
I think I agree. Now let's see if the list does.
Ghost.
Holy shit! I forgot about Ghost Dogs.
No, so we have our first number 1, ladies and
All
gentlemen.
right.
Oh,
man.
That is upsetting.
I'm perfectly pleased with this.
I'm not.
I love this game so much, and I thought it was gonna rank in like the 20s. I totally forgot this thing won music. I thought Deception Island won music. Damn, what have I been smoking?
Oh god, that hurts. But if nothing else, it shows that we weren't that biased in this.
6th place atmosphere.
Son of a bitch, I wish this were top 8.
Whoa, hold, pause. How is this number 6 for puzzles? That seems a little undeserved, if I'm being honest.
Oh, it had amazing puzzles.
Go on. What were they?
So I loved getting, like, once you get into the speakeasy, I love the thing with the spigots. I love.
All right, spigots are good.
So I love the spigots. I love the tiles that get into the secret passageway and the secret passageway.
It's coming back to me.
I love the wallpaper clock puzzle.
When I think of puzzles in this game, though, Dozen Little Critters comes to mind, and that's kind of a stigma.
That's a little tedious.
But beyond that,
wallpaper clock puzzle was great with that beautiful poem.
Yeah, the poem is good. Waldo Matthias, the tombstone, that's a great one. I feel like there's one really big puzzle in this game that really is just the joyous one. I'm trying to remember what it is. Maybe I think that puzzles is not totally deserved. I might honestly just be forgetting something huge. Nancy gotta have some torque. That's great. Oh, the
Roman numerals.
Roman numerals, yeah. Getting out of the burning shed with the Rube Goldberg contraption.
Yeah.
That's a clever solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, good puzzles game. I don't know if I would call it top 10 in hindsight. Mystery 13, that's solid. Honestly, I think that Mystery is better than puzzles, so I'm not sure how they rank that way. It's a fun setting. It's very natural and outdoors, and it has the historical backdrop of the Prohibition. Let's talk about the dirty part of this game. 3 suspects.
Yeah.
It is hard to make a 3-suspect game good. The Hauntings of Castle Malloy, we said, is a kind of 3 suspects game. Not the most well received in the community. This one, I think, is often worse received than that.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of worked a little bit because it's a pretty secluded place that's creepy. So the 3 suspects were like fit all naturally really well. So maybe it would have been tough to naturally come up with a 4th person, because who would it be? Like Tucker?
Yeah, Tucker, the dude with the chainsaw.
Somebody working for the other suspect?
A while ago, you and I kind of memed on it and said this game needed a 4th suspect who was a fisherman, and his name was going to be Todd Skipper. And he never happened, and so we want the Todd Skipper cut of Ghost Dogs.
That would have been a natural one, you're right.
But even so, I mean, it's a little bit of a letdown, because you'd think that for only 3 suspects, we might have gotten more ghost dog attacks throughout the game, but we just got the 1. So that's all right. Ending 24, the stuff leading up to the ending is great. The culprit reveal is so dumb, it's almost parody.
Silly, not that cool.
It's such a dumb sequence.
But I guess it kind of depends on where you call the ending.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like ending is probably like when the gold bars come out. Up until then, you've got puzzles you need to solve.
Gold bullion,
excuse me. Now, before we move on, I want to say real quick, Julian, you and I love this game, but this game is a very controversial one in the community. There's a lot of people who I think might genuinely call this the worst Nancy Drew game, or in their top 3 worst.
Yeah, that's rubbish.
Well, is that all you have to say to them is what I'm asking. What would you say to defend this game to a stalwart Ghost Dogs hater?
Okay, Ghost Dogs exceeds so well in capturing this like small town, rural Pennsylvania wooded feel. From its low suspect count to just the huge woods in your backyards. This feels so different from every Nancy Drew game. And what I personally like most is diving into the history about the previous owner, Mickey Malone, finding his love for these dogs and what he did, how he ran a speakeasy that you literally find.
All right,
like it's so cool. I don't know, I just really like gangster stuff too, so that was just icing on the cake for me.
I agree with all of that.
It's so cool diving into the history of this little rural town.
I mean, music and atmosphere, both top 10. Music is first, for Christ's sake. Because I'm pretty sure we counted this one. There were like 10 songs in this soundtrack, and like 9 of them were complete bangers.
And they switch between night and day, too.
That's right, there's night music and day music, a great way to keep it moody. I think that, just on the whole, this game is sheer vibes. And if you're not playing with the vibes, if for some reason you play Nancy Drew games without the music on, I know somebody must do that. You probably won't like this game at all. But
yeah, you're weird.
Our first video on this channel was a no commentary Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake for a reason. It's because I wanted to be able to just sit back and listen to someone play Ghost Dogs while I did other things. Alright, number 11. One of the 2 games is not going to make the top 10, Julian. Shadow Ranch or Curse of Blackmore Manor. Or maybe they'll both make top 10. Do you think either one's not going to make it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say Shadow Ranch would. I mean, I'm really blown away by how far it's making it. I thought it has a lot of pitfalls, but...
Let's do it.
What?
What the hell? No! What?
Oh dear God, what have we done?
Treasure in the Royal Tower snuffed from the top 10!
Oh my God. Isn't that what I said would be number 5?
You put that at like number 3! Holy shit!
I wasn't thinking of the ending.
Oh, no, okay, yeah, the ending kind of sandbagged it hard. Wow, this game...
Oh, God.
Okay, this game made top 10 4 times on our lists, but it only made 10 for mystery and puzzles. Music, it got 5, that's deserved. It's a very royal, rich, regal feeling. Atmosphere, 8, that's great. I love the snowy feeling. You feel snowbound, but you feel all warm and cuddly inside. It's a great setting. Suspects 14.
That's sort of fair.
That's deserved. Lisa is like a brick wall. Jacques is just kind of goofy and French.
You don't even need to talk to Lisa.
That's true. You can like get really far in the game without talking to her until you need to go learn about that green ornament. But it's not like Yanni or Guadalupe where you could play the whole game and not know she's there. She's pretty easy to find. And endings 23. It's a ridiculous ending. I'll be clear. Not to name any names, but the culprit has an affinity for quoting Madonna, and it's a very...
It's cringe.
It's very cheesy 90s dialogue.
Yeah.
For a computer game, yeah.
Everything else, I mean, it did score very well. It had great puzzles, one of the best being the whole get inside the dungeon puzzle through calling the elevator and then going through the library and then going through the elevator shaft.
Highlight. That is perfect environmental storytelling mixed with puzzles. That Nancy needs to put the elevator on a certain floor to get to the stupid shaft underneath it and get through the library. That's like 6 puzzles rolled up into a giant puzzle burrito, and I love it.
It's good.
Mystery... Gosh, the mystery is a little forgettable in some ways. I'm surprised it scored that high, if I'm being totally honest. It's Nancy's just in this old castle, and she's snowed in. Someone broke into the library, and that is the crime, and it's been vandalized. So Nancy... being Nancy, climbs up an elevator shaft to go investigate. And that's where she uncovers kind of a more benign mystery that the concierge, I almost called him Edgar. Dexter Egan, that this dude actually grew up at the castle and is kind of the disgraced adopted son of the dude who owned it. So she tries to, like, you know, make amends with him about being a little castle rascal in his youth, and the little boy and this old man, that came out wrong. the heart in this old man kind of slowly melts. His icy heart melts, and he becomes a compassionate man again. And Nancy helps him to feel better about the past, because he was a very big problem child. And, you know, then there's also this mystery of Marie Antoinette and how this castle had a tower that was for some reason imported from France, and there's historical documents in it. The mystery was pretty disjointed in some ways, but it's a classic ND story, I feel.
Part of what makes the atmosphere so great is just the whole you're snowed in a old castle with these people.
Yeah.
Like, that's great, and the castle itself is amazing. There's just random dead ends, which is great.
It should be noted, this is game number 4. It's a huge nostalgia bomb for people, and it came out in like 1999, maybe 2000 actually. And so being a very limited game, it accomplishes a fantastic atmosphere through like 3 main ways. One is just that the place is big. It's a coherent design for the castle. There's 3 floors and then a dungeon. The dungeon is late game stuff. You get into that halfway through the game, and boy is it rewarding to do that puzzle when you first get into that dungeon. 2 is the sound design. Just walking through the castles and hearing the whistling wind and seeing a little bit of frost on the windows, that really reinforces the whole feeling of, yeah, it's snowy as hell outside. I'm stuck in this place. I couldn't leave if I wanted to. And 3, this is a small one, but it's huge for me. You don't actually get to go outside in this game until the second half, and so you can kind of get a little cooped up for the beginning. Now that may be by design, depends on what you say is good or not, but the thing that really holds you on is that you can go and open the door downstairs, and instead of other games where Nancy's just like, I can't go outside right now, I'll freeze, you actually get to see outside, and it's blizzarding. It's a complete whiteout out there. And Nancy goes, yikes, better wait for the storm to pass, and that's all I needed to just satiate me and hold me over. That's all I needed to just know the promise of, okay, I'm going to go outside eventually, but for now I'm in the castle.
That's a very minute detail.
I just thought it made a big difference, in my opinion. Other people might think not, but who knows.
The music itself feels very warm. Like, there's one track in particular. I think it's called Royal, maybe? The Royal track?
The dun-dun-dun.
No, not that one.
Which the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Oh, dun-dun.
Yes,
that's
that one feels so cozy and warm
somber,
to me.
I think.
It's great exploring themed.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is like kind of contrasting between like this warm, cozy place and the frigid outdoors. So it's kind of interesting how you make a sound design for that sort of environment.
What this game does is it makes you feel like the little kid who's been given the keys to the castle. You just get to explore and get into trouble and
just like little Dexter.
Solve some mysteries. Yeah. That takes us to the top 10 now. So this is the
this is the top 10.
Objective top 10
been
list.
Extremely shocked and betrayed by these past 2 picks.
I just hope that Blackmore Manor is before Shadow Ranch. Let's do it. No!
Wait. How is this possible? How is this possible? How is this Who made this list?
Damn you! Who did this?
I can't believe this. How is Shadow Ranch top 10?
Number 10 is The Curse of Blackmore Manor, game number 11. Okay, this is an absolute Jamie favorite. I think I like it a little more than you, to be fair, Julian.
Yeah, I think you do too.
It's,
I mean, look at it. Scores were pretty great.
Except for Suspects. 23 on Okay, I get that.
Yeah, the Suspects were so bad.
Nigel Mukherjee is just kind of a goofball. Not sure why he's there. Ethel is a very interesting character, but she has no set location. She just kind of drifts around. Jane is a child, and she can be very frustrating, and she's poorly rendered and looks malnourished. Please remaster this game, How Interactive.
And Mrs. Drake is not good either.
Yeah, and don't forget, Linda is just a voice actress. We never actually see Linda, but we're supposed to talk to her like she's a suspect.
We might have been generous giving it 23 on Suspects.
Yeah, it is a 5-suspect game if you count Ethel, so that is very interesting.
Yeah, but...
According to this list, the strong suit is puzzles. Hard agree, but music and atmosphere is also phenomenal. How did music not make top 10? Preposterous.
I don't know.
That's actually astounding to me. I love the music in this game. I would put this music as right behind Ghost Dogs, which took number 1.
I think it's mystery outshines music, definitely. So we got that right.
Yeah, the mystery is up there. It's a very unique game in that way.
Sometimes it would get a little bit dry, and then something would happen, like you just see this midnight cult meeting where Jane's pouring silver down the drains or something. So you just get roped right back in immediately.
There's a weird, spooky stuff going on.
And there's good hauntings in the game too. Great especially. One of my favorite hauntings is when you just exit the room, turn left, and there's just the shadowy figure laughing and running away from you. It's like, what the hell?
There's some spooky-ass stuff in this game. I think on your first night, Nancy goes to bed, and she wakes up at like 3 a.m. and just hears in the distance... It's just like Latin chanting. It's the Iliad, I think.
And the nightmares were consistently scary too.
The nightmares are freaky.
They always ripped you back in with this hooking mystery,
So, talking about the mystery itself, it's a very weird one. Nancy gets sent by her neighbor to an old manor in England where her neighbor's daughter, is becoming a shut-in. And spoiler alert, she's looking like she's turning into a werewolf. And there's some pretty strong evidence as you go throughout the game that she may actually be turning into a werewolf. And rest assured, the game has a slightly contrived but satisfactory explanation as to what's going on in the end, and it ultimately has a rather touching mystery conclusion. A lot of times in a Nancy Drew game, I think it kind of feels like, wow, this is a great mystery, but something kind of sad happens at the end. It's just like, wow, that kind of puts a damper on things. This game has a heartwarming ending for everyone involved, I think. Parts of it are a little fuzzy, but it's got a lot of heart to it. Blackmore Manor is an oddball game, but it'll leave you feeling warm by the end.
But you don't get to go outside.
Yep, that's probably why Atmosphere didn't get any higher. This is a game I'd say is ripe for a remaster, because, one, we need Jane to not look like she has an eating disorder. She is paper thin. Mm-hmm. And two, this game, at least it had a beautiful greenhouse. I love the greenhouse, but that's not enough. We can see on the cover art how cool the outside is. We see in the opening cutscene how nice the place is outside. Mm-hmm. But Nancy won't leave because, oh, Mrs. Drake will get mad at me if I track mud in. Those are like her exact words.
Yeah.
Weak sauce, Nancy.
So stupid.
What if there were clues outside you needed to find?
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 then. Is this going to be Shadow Ranch right after Blackmore Manor?
Now, for all I know, Shadow Ranch is number 1. I don't understand.
Could you imagine?
I don't understand.
Alright, hit it.
Whoa.
Oh! Shadow Ranch better than Deadly Device?
This is unacceptable.
What the hell? 10.3, that's like 1 point better than the last game.
Ugh. And it's because the atmosphere.
Okay, now...
Look, number 4 and 2 and 7.
Okay.
And then 14, 21, 14.
Julian and I recently played this one. I feel like I like Deadly Device a little bit more every time I play it.
Yeah, it's a great game.
But I will never like that atmosphere more. Screw you for cooping me up in a gray laboratory with no outdoors the whole game. Everything else, I love it. Great mystery, great suspects, puzzles are insane.
Mm-hmm. Besides the in-game puzzles suck.
Oh my god, that was horrible.
But like, I enjoyed like every single puzzle in the game besides that. Oh, but Ellie's phone was kind of stupid on Senior, but that was also us being stupid too.
Yeah, it was... That, honestly, yeah, it was a very small detail.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very fair game. Mm-hmm. Game 27, I mean, it had some fun little quirks to it. Deirdre calls you out of the blue. We get Deirdre Shannon returning after a game of her being absent.
So it's a 5-suspect game, and every suspect is great. Besides Ellie, is pretty bland.
Ellie is yeah, I wish that they did more with Ellie. She kind of felt like she had this brewing subplot the whole game. And by the end of it, it just kind of vanishes once the dire circumstances at the end game appear. And I almost feel like there was more to it that I was just too thick to pick up on. But who knows?
Mystery, it's a murder mystery, so it's obviously going to be like top 5.
Yeah, there's only 2 murder mysteries in the whole series, and one of them is Serious Can Kill, which ranked like 32 on our list.
Mm-hmm. Music is phenomenal, but it does have some repeating similar tracks. It isn't that diverse, but every track is really good too.
The grief track, or the lost track, whatever it's called, that's a really good one with the cello plays during the opening cutscene.
Oh, during the opening, yeah.
The danger track is great. The study research track is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love the electric track. I think it's such a dark, moody, investigating vibe. That's the music I think of whenever I'm like sneaking onto Gray's computer, looking through the security logs.
Do you agree this is the second best game for Suspects?
My opinion on that may have changed a little bit, actually. Because I think best game for Suspects went to Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. In hindsight, I may say Waverly Academy has the right to beat this game out. I don't know. Because, I mean...
Think of Mason.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
He's just a kind civilian.
Thank you for making me think of Mason. Here's what I'll say. I don't remember what it was like the first time I played this game, but on a repeat playthrough, and spoilers here, I think that about halfway through the game, they made the culprit a little too obvious.
Yeah.
And that's too bad, because it was a really, really cool culprit idea. Mm-hmm. I loved the concept, but even I'll bet on the first playthrough, my sus alarms were probably going off. This playthrough is just like, oh my gosh, how could you play this game for the first time and not instantly realize it's this?
Mm-hmm.
So... I mean, it loses a little novelty there. I wish that my boy Victor Lassette had more dialogue than, what, you want candy? Fine, take the candy, get out of my office when he comes into the game.
Well, no, there is conversations.
A little bit, yeah. But, Deadly Device, you deserve closer to the top, but not top 5 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. The endings were still great, with frickin' Gray being knocked out on his hero rampage.
Yeah, that's true.
It was fun.
A solid game for the STEM students, for sure. and it's a complete thrasher when it comes to puzzles. This is probably top 5 most difficult Nancy Drews again, especially that last puzzle.
It's not just the difficulty too; it's the consistency. Like, it's very dense in puzzles.
All right, before we move on, we've been fixating on Shadow Ranch and Blackmore for a while, so let's think about what's actually left. We've still got Last Train, Crystal Skull,
Final Scene,
Deception Island. I almost said Scarlet Hand, but no, that was like number 27.
Sea of Darkness.
Yeah, that's true. Then there is, of course, Shadow Ranch. So that's like 7. There's 2 more we're not thinking of.
1 or something.
We already got Labyrinth of Lies.
Yeah, I don't know what we're not thinking.
28, 27, 26. Captive Curse.
Yes, yeah.
Captive Curse is top 10.
I would say Captive Curse is coming up.
Probably, yeah.
But
that one scored really high on something.
We need to see what it is.
All right, 8.
Thank you.
Shadow Ranch, number 8. Okay. End of the line.
What the hell? Are you kidding me? It got that good? On placements?
Holy shit.
Number 5 in endings?
Number 5 in atmosphere. Okay, Argo Funk probably had something to do with that number 5 in endings. But
Number 9 in mystery?
Okay, 9 in mystery, that's deserved, because this is a baller mystery, alright? Notice that nothing scored lower than 16, and that was Suspects. And I still think the Suspects in this game are pretty enjoyable, so that'll tell you that this is an all-around piece of quality.
No, I disagree on the Suspects.
You think it should be worse?
Yeah. Tex is cool. Mariazi doesn't matter. Dave, sadly, doesn't matter.
Shorty's a beast, though. Don't even tell me Shorty's.
2 good Suspects, 2 bad Suspects. That doesn't average out to be
Dave
good.
Is all right. It's just because you're not attracted to him.
Dave is not a good suspect. He does literally nothing. The moment he does something semi-interesting, he's like, I'm a simp. Here, let me apologize.
But he picks up Nancy from the airport. The mystery wouldn't happen without that. All right, okay. Enough fawning and simping over Dave. Puzzles 11. There's some harsh, like, go screw yourself puzzles in this game.
Yeah.
The magnet puzzle is a brutal one on the first time playthrough. It's the worst when you finally get a thing through a huge blockage and then it's in the wrong spot. Oh, vegetable puzzles. God.
Yeah,
why did it rank this high? This game has the vegetable puzzles. This game was, I think, maybe the first to really popularize the whole Nancy does chores format of puzzles.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm kind of surprised that puzzles breached the top 15.
There's a ton of puzzles.
Collecting arrowheads.
Wait a minute. Which one was Sylvia on for? Because this is her favorite game.
Sylvia, she helped us with Atmosphere, didn't she?
Yeah, and this is her favorite game.
Oh, good heavens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, see, you know what?
Things are starting to make sense.
No, hang on. I'm kind of with Sylvia, though. This game is a solid Atmosphere.
I don't think it's top 5. I think it's top 10.
Okay, that's fair. It's not... I would say top 10 also. 5 is a stretch. I mean... It actually beat out Blackmore, didn't it, on Atmosphere? And that's a no-no, even though that game doesn't let you go outside. Okay, this game has cutscenes, though. This game has cutscenes at the end of the night. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. I didn't think that Shadow Ranch would be such the topic of fierce debate on this list. But golly, it is.
Well, apparently it's our 8th favorite game.
Maybe your 8th favorite. Maybe Sylvia's first favorite. Okay, real talk, though. 16 for puzzles, 11. Music, 15. Good music in this game, but it's a little hokey. This is not all music I would just kick on and go for a drive listening to.
Yeah. I don't know. For the mystery part, I just think the first day of this entire game sucks. Like, it gets interesting in the second and third.
That's kind of true. I would say
the first day is just chore simulator.
Yeah, and you don't get to go to any fun new locations. Now, I think that the chores can be kind of fun. I like splitting wood. The vegetables are kind of fun at times, just because it's... Nancy's phone is what makes the vegetables a bad puzzle. It's that you have to find the answers on the phone, which is a terrible UI, and it's tough to navigate. And bush and pull. I still don't know what bush and pull means when referring to snap beans, so I will hold that against this game till I die. So will Lonnie Manella. She played this game and said that that's not how vegetables work. So, endings 5. I think that's the last thing we really need to talk about. What is so good about the ending to this game? We get a new location. That's true. The Pueblo Cliff Dwelling Maze is a fun, exciting place for the end of the game.
Well, I think the treasure in Valentine's letter was very nice.
That is very cool.
That's also probably why Mystery was also top 10, was because it was driven by Dirk Valentine's letters.
Also
Those
true.
were really intriguing.
We've got good old... I mean, spoiler alert. The culprit reveal is pretty funny, because Shorty is a very strange culprit. He's a silly dude.
I need to know how he got there, because he had to have followed us on horse.
Yeah, I just ran your horse off. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's very conniving in that way. I'm not sure I like how they explain away that, oh, Shorty had help from the other bank robbers, but we never meet them. I guess he runs with a gang, and then he gets paroled, and he becomes the gumbo stand dude in Legend of the Crystal Skull, so that's pretty cool.
It was a clever way to trick him, though.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that part, but it happened very quickly, and it's just not, like, it doesn't strike, it's missing something. It's not top 5 to me, but I don't know.
I empathize with that. The ending is not top 5, yeah. I think that... Really,
it's a sick treasure.
I would say the ending honestly starts when you get to the cliff maze, and so that is a fun, a little time-consuming puzzle to go on that scavenger hunt and find the key pieces. What I don't like is how easily Nancy thwarts Shorty by just switching the trail markers. It's funny to watch him go flying through the floor, but I wanted a little more challenge out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 now.
Oh, I just.
Oh, you. Oh! Holy shit! Oh my gosh!
This is terrible.
Okay, we just hit number 7 a little too fast, and it is the final scene.
I thought this would be number 1. No.
Oh my gosh. So not only is this your all-time favorite game, but this was your pick for all-time best game.
Yes.
Okay. Looks like where it got hurt.
Not even top 5.
It got burned bad by Puzzles. Puzzles put it in 22, and that is justifiable, I would say.
How is the atmosphere 12? Who did that?
The game is all indoors. It's a very niche atmosphere, okay? Sylvia did that. There's the answer to your question. Okay. Let's go down in a line. Mystery is 6. That I would argue maybe top 5 actually.
Yeah, it's an incredible mystery.
Nancy solves a kidnapping in a building that is going to be demolished in 3 days. And it takes all 3 days. This game gets down to the last 10 seconds before the demolition, before Nancy saves the day and solves the mystery. And that is why this game scored number 1 for best ending of all time. I'm pretty sure Michael Gray agreed with this, like, off the rip. Like, yeah final scene is a...
Well, hold on, dude. I can't believe that it got 6th in mystery.
He's pulling up the video!
I can't believe this.
He's pulling up our first episode.
I can't believe it got 6th in mystery. I thought for sure it was, like, top 3 or something.
Oh my god. Whoa! Pause! Shadow at the Water's Edge hasn't come up yet. We totally forgot about that one.
I think that's gonna be up there.
Where the hell is Shadow at the Water's Edge gonna rank?
God. Okay.
4 was Deadly Device for mystery.
Who did this?
Who could have done this thing that I did?
Maybe I shouldn't be spoiling this.
I mean, you knew that was...
How was it not? Oh my gosh, it was final scene.
Oh my god. Okay, so let's get back to it. 5 for Suspects. Now, I'll let you talk about Suspects. Why is it a 5, do you think? What stops it from being 1 in your
The Suspects just have so much juicy personality.
Brady.
We have Brady and his interesting background. We have Simone, which is a perfect antagonist for the game. Falcone. Why am I forgetting his first name?
Nicholas!
Nicholas Falcone. He's amazing. He's just this troublemaker, grew up in the theater, is very passionate, heartfelt
Nicholas
about
Falcone is based. I love him. He's different.
And then Joseph is still a good suspect, but I guess he would be the weakest just from an analytical perspective.
Yeah.
The game's suspects are great.
Nicholas Falcone, I want to talk about him for a second. I just glossed over him. He's just a great rabble-rouser, and I wish that he came back more in the series. I think they left a note that was like a reference to him in a later game. It had to fight the power or something, and it's from Nick F. That's the note sign. Fight the power is this thing. He's just like the big rebellious guy who's like, I hate theaters. I'm gonna. Or wait, no, he's the opposite. My bad. I got my wires crossed there.
He hates the corporate bigwigs.
Yes, it's the United States of Generica. If this guy was around today, he would probably have like a podcast where he just bashes on Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, Nicholas Falcone.
The music. How did this not get better on music? Oh my gosh.
Okay.
The danger track?
Music is 9. The danger track. This is, I want to say, maybe the only danger track in the whole series that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Last Train has a good danger track too. But this one it's just so hype. It's got 2 danger tracks that are similar, but they're different in their own right.
I'm willing to concede that Puzzles is probably fair.
Okay.
Because it didn't have anything that reinvented the wheel.
That's true. The Magician's Cage sequence puzzle is cool, but it's a little here and there when it comes to, figuring it out. God.
It definitely has the best ending, though.
Yes, ending number 1.
No-brainer.
That's something that you, me, and Argofump all agree on. So even if this isn't the best game by our complete bullshit ranking at this point, there's a lot of stuff on this list that I am not agreeing with. I think we can all agree that this was how to end a game with a bang. And so I thought it was really intense. All right, anything else we want to say about good old Final Scene before we move on?
Yeah, it's my favorite game. I just love the actual theater. Like, when you're inside, this red, this, like, loading, the color scheme, like, for this game is great.
I think I'd like to say...
It was so terrifying.
I'm going to expand on that. I'm going to say that this game, I respect it, and I think it's a great game, but a lot of times it almost turned me away because I found it unsettling and uncomfortable in a way that almost none of the other games did. It always...
because of how serious it felt.
It felt like I could always just hear the ghosts of the theater goers laughing around me, and it was very strange.
Yeah.
The
it's
music
kind of like
is...
the Great Fusili.
Yeah, exactly.
Cow.
What?
Brown. Cow.
Oh.
Fusili would perform here.
He would.
And then we would all turn into puppets.
See, now you're just making me think it's even creepier. This is a sleeper choice for scariest Nancy Drew game. All right, are we ready to move on to number 6? This is the last game before the top 5, and
yeah, I could talk about this game forever.
I'll bet it's going to be Captive Curse, even though I would personally like to see Captive Curse in top 5.
Well, I would be shocked if Captive Curse is top 5, but in a good way. Let's see what 6 is. You want to guess?
Captive Curse is my guess.
I'll guess Captive Curse too.
Oh, holy
we have
shit!
Something tied for 5 and 4.
6 and 5.
6 and 5, yeah. 6 and 5.
Shit!
So,
a tie this close up.
Yeah, this is. Imagine if 1 and 2 are tied.
Okay, let's take a second to think. If we only said Captive Curse, could be Shadow at the Water's Edge. That would break my heart. The 23 and 24 tied.
It could be Sea of Darkness.
Oh, that's true also.
But I don't know. Sea of Darkness scored phenomenal in a lot of things.
There's also Last Train and Waverly already placed.
I don't think it's going to be Last Train.
You don't think it'll be Last Train?
No, I think Last Train's a lock on, like, top 4. But I would
Deception
say
Island.
Yeah, maybe it's Deception. I'd say Captive Curse and Deception is most likely.
Captive Curse beats Captive Curse in the top 4. Holy shit!
I got both of them wrong.
For a tie to 6th and 5th place, we have it exactly 8.83 points. Sea of Darkness and Shadow at the Water's Edge.
That's unbelievable.
All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Shadow at the Water's Edge, first place for mystery. Sea of Darkness placed first place for nothing, but it did place 2nd place on puzzles and 3rd place on music. So that's impressive in its own way.
I remembered that, and I was like, holy shit, is Sea of Darkness gonna get first?
Wow!
That's crazy.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, that is shocking.
Captive Curse, dude, what is this list we have made? Captive Curse in top 5 best of all time?
Top 4.
I know people who hate Captive Curse. They will put that way down at the bottom. 5th worst game, they'll say. Some people say worst game.
This is shocking.
What the hell? All right, we're gonna spend a little bit extra time on this because we got 2 games here.
So, what's the worst thing combined is Shadow at the Water's Edge ending. Is interesting.
Okay, yeah, that's a 20. The second, but neither of them's ranked good for ending.
Both of them were bad endings. I would say maybe if Sea of Darkness's ending was worse. I really just, well, also there's the whole Hear the Kite ballad.
Yeah, the Hear the Kite ballad and the Truth of Captain Lawrence got the ending a little bit more boost for me. I do not like the Shadow at the Water's Edge ending because I felt cheated that, okay, here comes the spoilers. I felt cheated almost that Rentaro was the villain because it was okay that he was the culprit. There was nothing wrong with that. It's that the crime he committed was so cold that it felt uncharacteristic of him. He struck me as a guy whose heart was in the right place and he wanted to move on with his life and rescue his girlfriend and longtime love from her draconian traditional Japanese family who wanted her to take over the business.
Hold on. How is Shadow at the Water's Edge 4 in Suspects?
Whoa.
4?
What? I didn't even register that. Okay.
What?
Wait a second.
4?
6 is Sea
There's
of Darkness.
no way.
Wait. Let's take a second and consider it.
Final scene Suspects are better than Shadow at the Water's Edge.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, Hugh Miller helped us make the Suspects list.
Okay. You have
Yumi is as the GOAT. I like Yumi.
Yeah, Yumi's nice. The old woman you can discredit.
Well, Takai is okay. I like. She's not the old woman.
Okay, and then Miwako, not good. Rentero's great. Miwako's not good.
Okay.
Dislike Miwako. So that's an average of 2 great suspects, 2 mass suspects. Doesn't average to 4.
I like Miwako though. I
don't.
Okay, Rentero's a beast. We love Rentero.
I like Rentero.
Rentero and Yumi are cool. I feel like Rentero and Yumi are great because Miwako and Takai are miserable, and I feel like it adds a good dichotomy. You can't have 2 without the other 2.
Oh my goodness.
This game had a very big family drama to it, and
4.
Here's a good question. Okay, here's something I want to say because they're 2 perfectly good parallels. Who has better Suspects, Shadow at the Water's Edge or Ghost of Thornton Hall? Because they're very similar things. They're families that have been split apart by tragedy.
Ghost of Thornton Hall.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How do I rewind this? I don't want to end up like looking at...
Don't.
Okay, I can rewind it with the arrow keys. Ghost of Thornton Hall scored 7 on Suspects.
Yeah.
Compared to 4. Wow. Okay. Hugh, I'm gonna put this one on you, buddy.
Oh man, this is shocking.
Okay, let's look at music for a second. Music 3 for Sea of Darkness deserved. You can make an argument that it's number 1.
Yeah,
the word I couldn't keep holds a lot of weight with a lot of people.
That's amazing.
Music for Shadow at the Water's Edge.
Whoa, puzzles is 2?
Yeah. Did you not notice that?
I'm just registering it now.
Puzzles
2?
2 for
some of the most ridiculously hard puzzles ever?
Well, they're well done, ridiculously hard puzzles. I mean, don't forget triangular Sudoku. That shit, like, popped my brain. You've got 2048. They brought that back in this game with, like, the white light and the lighthouse thing. That was a fun puzzle. Oh, God.
It had great Suspects. That's fair.
Yeah,
both games
Dagny,
had bad endings.
We've only talked about how we are controversial about the Suspects in this game. We haven't said a thing about the Suspects in Sea of Darkness.
Yeah, well, they're all good.
Dagny is the GOAT. I love her. Gunnar is awesome. Elizabeth is good, and I even like Soren a good bit, too.
Yeah, Soren's got a lot of personality.
Yeah, what the... This...
He's just the quirky gay dude in the town that gets picked on.
Alright, you know what? Pause. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I think Sea of Darkness is a better game than Shadow at the Water's Edge. Now, that's controversial, and Shadow at the Water's Edge gets...
No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
You think Shadow at the Water's Edge is a better game?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
With the mystery of her mom and everything.
Okay, you're
That's
right.
amazing.
I'm getting...
And the secret passageway.
Okay, I'm gonna walk that back.
And the dichotomy between Old Japan and New Japan.
Okay, you're very, very right.
And Attack on Titan.
I'm walking it back, okay? It's better Suspects, much better Suspects than Shadow at the Water's Edge. But Shadow at the Water's Edge is cumulatively a better game. I think that Soren has a great story to him that I think is a little goofy with, spoiler alert, him kind of, you know, being the culprit at the end of the game. His story is a little bit goofy because he was born 10 miles away. But the people of Skipperot are so, like, xenophobic that they consider him to be an outsider, and they've always held it against them, even though he, like, went to school with them. So I can understand how being a 30-something-year-old, he might take that to heart and get really, like, maniacal ideas from having to celebrate his birthday alone.
He's the Joker.
He, kind of. Soren is the Joker of the Nancy Drew games. Oh, man. Endings were bad, I think we decided for both of them. They're mid at best. Sea of Darkness ending is better because it has cool lore with Captain Lawrence, how he was actually a pirate or something like that. And the word I couldn't keep, it's great to use that puzzle, that Something in-game puzzle. Like, we already talked about the Shadow at the Water's Edge ending. It just comes on too quickly, and it's like, really? Would he do something so evil? He just seemed like such a nice guy. I would want to be friends with him. And it also does have alternate endings. You can choose a good or bad redemption ending for Rentero.
Yeah, that was nice diversity.
Wasn't as
Not
big
that
of an
it was
ending as
too
Thornton
different.
Hall.
Yeah.
Man, Shadow at the Water's Edge, though. Suspects for puzzles. Okay, puzzles 13 for Water's Edge. Is this just because of monster nanograms and monster Sudoku?
That was very evil.
I think
yeah.
If we took those out, this could be a top 10 game for puzzles, I think. Think about the portrait backing.
Yeah, the portrait backing is good.
Ooh, okay, another one I don't like is the timed puzzle of Nancy, like, trying to fix the screen door thing. The symmetry puzzle.
Yeah, you just have to pause the game.
I like that puzzle mechanically. I don't understand why they thought that would be a good, like, you die if you mess up puzzle.
I hated origami. That is such
origami
a
was harsh
puzzle
too. Okay.
because it doesn't work really.
Okay, maybe
You can't tell how the things are being folded just by a little arrow with an arch in it.
maybe 13 was generous for puzzles in this game. We gotta move on to 4 now. Holy shit, there's 4 games left.
And they are what? Last Train?
Deception Island,
Deception Island,
Captive Curse, and Waverly? No, Waverly. I keep
you
on thinking that Waverly's gonna be like really up there because
What are we missing?
like BuzzFeed has a list where they say
Am I
like
dumb?
best Nancy Drew game of all time. Warnings at Waverly Academy.
What are we missing?
Gosh, imagine what we're missing.
Think.
Last Train, Captive Curse, Deception Island.
This is telling that we can't remember.
Last Train, Deception Island.
Oh, Crystal Skull.
Crystal Skull. Yeah.
Crystal Skull.
Shit, we just finished a playthrough of it. All right. Do you want to change?
Surprise.
Another one?
Wait,
Did you
no,
just
go
go back? There's no way.
Wait, no.
Wait.
Go back one. Captive Curse. And then we have a tie incoming.
Did you go through 2?
I
Are
went
you
through
saying
1.
there's a tie for 2nd and 3rd place?
Yes.
Are you fucking for real? Wait, tie incoming.
No.
Okay, I'm not gonna go ahead.
Curse.
I
But
think
there's a tie after this.
4 for Cap. Okay, I'm gonna say it right now. I love Captive Curse. I think this is a fantastic game.
Wow.
8.33. Let's compare that real
think
quick.
it's a great game.
8.83, 8.33. 0.5 difference between this and the last 2 games.
I think it's a great game too.
People. Okay.
No number 1 placements, but just generally superior in like puzzles, music, atmosphere, endings. It's
Wow.
all top 8 there.
This is. I would call this
Top 7.
I would say that this is also a perfect difficulty game for beginners. The one thing about this game, the first thing that comes to mind is like turns people away immediately. Bad German accents. The accents in this game, to anyone who has any experience with Germanic speaking friends or family, you're gonna like run for the hills. It's so bad. You will be a cringe show. I think. Now, I might be wrong with this because I actually don't have many. I have a German-speaking uncle, but he lives in Germany, so I didn't see him often. But I think that Anya's accent is all right. I think it's Renata, Carl, and Lucas who are like...
Carl was really bad.
Carl was like... He was like Uncle Grandpa, but German.
Like insulting.
He was like a German caricature.
So, let's talk about Suspects then, because that's the worst.
Okay, yeah, Suspects...
Where does Suspects fall flat?
Renata is boring and cryptic. I think at the start, Renata can be really exciting because she talks in a lot of weird, sinister ways. And then you kind of get the impression that, oh, she's kind of just doing this because she's a storyteller. This is just how she drums up publicity for stuff.
You know, and I'm not that big of a fan of Anya, too. She was a little flat.
Yeah, I can see that. Anya...
She kind of, like, helps Nancy with, like, boyfriend advice, and that was the most memorable thing I can think of.
I like that.
She's a little bit of a mentor to Lucas.
We find out that she lied on her resume.
Oh, yeah.
Here's something that I think people...
Do we consider Marcus a suspect?
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could better, like, how we consider Victor lost that one. Here's the thing I want to say about Suspects real quick, is that this game actually has, it's got a family dynamic that's very easy to miss. So... There's a character, and this is probably why it didn't work, a character who was exempt from the game for some reason. Franz Mittelmeier, head of security.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas's father. He deserved to be a suspect.
Yeah, he would have fit in really well.
And I believe that Franz's cousin is Anya.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anya Mittelmeier, Franz Mittelmeier, Lucas Mittelmeier. That's like almost a whole family there. We don't know anything about Lucas's mother. I don't think Carl is related to them. Carl's last name is Weschler, so yeah, he's not related.
Yeah.
And Renata is a traveler. She's from this area, but she's not related to them either. So 2 of the suspects in this game are related to each other. And then there's a 3rd one who should have been a character but wasn't.
And then the high points. Certainly puzzles and atmosphere. The atmosphere is very gripping. I love what they put on in this place with the little castle and then the diversity of getting to go outdoors.
Kind of feels like it's a much more advanced version of Wickford
Castle. Yeah, I was just going to say
very pretty. The woodworking is on point. You've got a dungeon to explore in the second half of the game too. I think Wickford Castle is actually bigger, but this game has more substance.
Raid.
Raid!
Which I think we put for atmosphere, but I can't remember.
That's probably why Puzzles is number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Raid is the best Nancy Drew minigame ever. Julian and I had an entire bonus episode of our Captive Curse walkthrough.
Can we buy Raid from somewhere?
If someone out there, like on Etsy, is making and selling Raid board games, I will buy it from you. Like, I will. I don't care if you made it for yourself. Like, tell me. That's mine now. Louisiana Purchase. But Puzzles 3, I think that this is a good game that you can sit down and maybe even on Senior Detective, if you're attentive, you can play through the game and you can struggle and endure, but you can get through it without any spoilers. And that is a great, rewarding experience. Atmosphere, for many, many reasons why that is. It's a great atmosphere. I think we probably counted that as the monster sightings too.
Oh yeah, the monster sightings were amazing in this game.
The great thing they did about this is you get about a third of the way into the game before it's like, is the monster real or is he not? And then you see the freaking monster, and you see him up close. It's not some trick of the lights. It's not some brush in the woods. It's actually there. It's real, and it makes for a very interesting way for the game to keep going. Endings is 7. That is, I'd say, because it gets very intense because Lucas, the little boy, is abducted. And we need to find him. And gosh, oh man, Suspects, I think, was
from the fake monster sighting into the real monster sighting.
Suspects being number 18 is harsh because Carl and Lucas.
No, I don't think so.
Carl and Lucas have such an amazing dynamic.
Renata and Anya were very flat.
Renata has a really cool arc later in the game.
Okay, you're right, with the scarf.
And Anya has the thing where she cheats on her resume. But, oh my gosh, Carl and Lucas, let's just talk about them for a second. They're like the Perry the Platypus and Doofenshmirtz of the Nancy Drew world, and that's really funny because they're fighting back and forth, and Nancy gets in the middle of it and has to help them catch each other and stuff. But at the end of the game, something really touching happens, which is that Carl calls Nancy to his room and says, "It's Lucas. He's gone missing. This is not good. We need to find him." And Nancy even says, "How do you know he's not just playing a prank?" And he goes, "I can tell that something's wrong. I want to make sure he's good." Holy shit. Let's talk about Carl for a second. This is a top 15 Suspects game. Do you remember Carl's origins, his sad backstory?
Yeah.
That's
the thing with his wife or ex-wife or...
The doppelganger.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great piece of the character. Carl feels that he is perpetually cursed with bad luck because he says that when he was a little boy, he met his doppelganger, which in German folklore is like a terrible thing that must never happen or you will be cursed with bad luck. And so he kind of feels like he's responsible in some supernatural way for the monster sightings because he has been cursed with this bad luck, and he's very insecure about it. He's a very insecure dude, and he's very, like, loud and boisterous, like, "I am the Bürgermeister, there is no monster problem, Fräulein." And then Nancy's like, "Why are you talking so loud?"
Yeah, that's true.
It's a top 15 Suspects game for me. God, does that mean that this would rank even higher?
No, because
Carl is simultaneously very goofy, but also a very well-written character, if you ask me. Gosh, oh, this is a great game.
It is.
I would have never guessed it would rank higher than Ghost of Thornton Hall and Shadow at the Water's Edge, or Sea of Darkness for that matter. Damn. All right.
It was shocking. I thought this would be 10 or 9, and I thought Final Scene would be number 1.
Okay.
So we're all getting thrown through a loop here.
We could talk about this game for another 10 minutes, but I think we have to move on. Okay, so we're pretty sure it's a tie next, but we're not certain. It's the final countdown, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be big.
So what do you think the tie is, though?
Okay, that's a good question, because, I mean, the same question is gonna be, what do we think is number 1? I think it's between Danger on Deception Island, Last Train, and Legend of the Crystal Skull.
I think it's gonna be...
It's not gonna be Dangerous first, I don't think. It doesn't have the stones.
I don't know. I don't think Last Train is gonna be first.
So you think it's gonna be Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Crystal Skull first. Well,
I think it's gonna be Danger.
You think it's gonna be Danger?
Yeah.
That's a sleeper pick. I think it's gonna be Last Train. I'd be really surprised if it was Crystal Skull, but it also would make a little bit of sense because that was our first game, and we've always talked about how much bias we have for that game because we love it so much.
It's the black sheep.
It's the black sheep. Gosh, that'd be such a strange note to go on.
Well, let's go and make sure it's a tie. So,
all right, here we go.
It's a tie.
It's a tie for second and third place. Holy shit! So, you're saying it's gonna be a tie between Last Train and Danger on and Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
All right, I'm saying it's gonna be a tie between Deception Island and Last Train.
Are you ready?
Here we go. Holy shit.
Oh my god, I knew it.
It's Danger on Deception Island is the first.
Yep.
Vote for Holt. Yep. No way. Okay.
That's crazy.
All right. At 7.67 overall score, we have a tie between Legend of the Crystal Skull and Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. Wow, what complete different games.
Uh-huh.
All right. Wow.
Wow, Crystal Skull's music was 20.
This would have been number one probably if I didn't fight that music score so much, because I feel like a lot of the music just isn't groovy. It's too like spooky. It suffers from Ghost of Thornton Hall syndrome. But man, can it pull together the rest of the game. Number one for puzzles. I still think that's well deserved.
I still think it is too.
It's the puzzles in that game are so well designed. The short stories for Tired Eyes is just a ledger to puzzle after puzzle after puzzle.
Wow, in Atmosphere 2 and 3. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So good atmosphere. It's cohesive. Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon got number one for Suspects. Well deserved, besides the stain that is Fatima, in my opinion. I am not a fan of Fatima. Kaylee's just getting to Fatima in her playthrough. She's not the biggest fan either. Man! Oh, this is just, it's crazy to see it all come together. Suspects in Crystal Skull was 13 compared to 1. A Mystery in Crystal Skull was 5 compared to 12 in Last Train. Music in Last Train was 6. That's well deserved. I might even argue it deserves higher.
It has extremely S-tier music. The mystery was not as strong in Last Train.
Mystery in Last Train,
That's
Kaylee and I talked about this.
I mean,
There is no crime in Last Train.
Yeah, it started off really silly.
I mean,
once you find Lori, it morphs into a little bit bigger of a plot, but
it's still just like kind of a silly adventure game more than anything. A great game nonetheless. Wow.
I don't know if it's 12 for mystery.
You think it's lower or higher?
Higher.
This list is flawed. Who did this? Who made this list?
Maybe it's just kind of like mellowed out by the supporting cast being so dominant.
Puzzles for Last Train is a 14. I can see that. Doll puzzle is easily the puzzle highlight.
Yeah.
Then you've just got the pipes puzzle 4 times, and not many other puzzles, to be honest. The gemstone puzzle's cool, but it's kind of ridiculous.
That Rube Goldberg contraption.
Yeah.
There's shitty things like the arcade games at the stop there that you have to do, and then taffy sorting and burger making, and
the I Love Lucy cameo, pretty much.
Yeah. That wasn't too fun.
We just finished our playthrough Crystal Skull, and I think it just holds up fantastic. A 2007 masterpiece. What just an incredible game. It was not afraid to be bold. It was very strange, and it knew it. It dealt with voodoo and iguanas and weird dentist dolls that speak nonsense words, Bazalupa Dimuka, that sort of thing. And it landed so hard. And I'm just now remembering the whole best sequence. But one thing to note, these are 2 games where you switch back and forth between people you play as, between the Hardys and Nancy and Bess.
Not very much as the Hardys.
It was just the one time, but you still have an accomplice on the mystery. Hardy Boys games usually get bonus points, but a lot of the times the Hardy Boys appear in bad games like Midnight in Salem and Cap Your Cave, even though I like Cap Your Cave.
Endings for both games were good, like across the board, though I think it is well deserved for Crystal Skull.
4th place, yeah. Ending for Last Train, 11. It was gatekept from the top 10 just by being ridiculous that they just decided to shoehorn in the culprit at the last second by just making a needless crime. Oh.
But the treasure is kind of what made it so cool. Like Abraham Lincoln's letter he signed on the day he was murdered.
Yeah, there's so much foreshadowing to like Jake Hurley having all these relics of powerful friends in high places. It's such a weird quirk to that game. I kind of just want to get on to number 1 to talk about it.
I know, I want to see the placings. All I remember is Danger on Deception Island is 1 on Atmosphere.
Watch it be like a single, like decimal point better than
That'd
these
be
2.
Insane.
Gosh.
But both great games. Not completely shocking that these are in the top 5.
Yeah, let's just come up with a closing statement for each one, because they do deserve the attention, not just snuff because they're a tie. Crystal Skull, you were my first Nancy Dream ever. Julian's too. Great game. I love it. It's moody. It's perfect.
You're so bold and brash and different.
Yeah.
And unapologetic about it. There's such like creepy themes in it.
You be you, Crystal Skull.
And you have Henry.
You do have Henry, the heartthrob Henry. And then Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. What an adventure. This is the best game when it comes to adventure. It's not even a mystery game in the way. It is an adventure game just with Nancy Drew. That's Hugh Miller's unabashed all-time favorite game. Hugh Miller is a man of certain answers. You ask him what is the best Nancy Drew game, he tells you Last Train to Balloon Canyon. You ask him what is the worst Nancy Drew game, he tells you Trail of the Twister. That man does not beat around the bush. He knows himself. So as much as he may have sabotaged our list, I still think that Hugh is respectable in those ways. So kudos to him. I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah, I want to see why. I want to see just the breakdown.
I also just want to say really quick that I love Charlena Purcell, and it took me a long time to realize it. She's my favorite suspect in this game. Let's go. We didn't even talk about Tino Balducci.
Yeah.
Tino's Beast 2. What's it going to be? The grand finale
we've all been waiting for.
Is this the stage from Five Nights at Freddy's Pizza Simulator? It might be. Number 1, Danger on Deception Island. 7.5!
Yeah, it wasn't much better.
0.17 lead on the other two.
Wow, it just had 5 out of the 6 being in top 10.
And the other one was 15. Oh my god. Alright.
Yeah, it is like a sleeper, like you said. It sneaks up on you because there's no bad thing about it.
There really isn't a single thing I can, really fault this game for. Let's talk about it.
It has Holt Scotto.
It's got Holt Scotto, guys! Okay, so let's go down the list. Mystery, 8th place. That's fair.
The mystery is very intriguing from the start.
It's
because you just walk right into it.
Yeah, you do.
And then it gets really political.
I mean, this isn't like Secret of the Scarlet Hand where it's like, I'm gonna go be a museum curator for 2 days straight before a mystery happens. Nancy meets up with her friend for her whale-watching vacation, and then, oh no, my boat's been sabotaged, and someone has strewn the parts all about the deck, and it's like, who would do something like this? And so Nancy then talks to her a second later and goes, hey, for what it's worth, I kind of had a...
shot my mouth off last night.
Yeah, she says that there was kind of this heated local debate going on about how there's an orca in the channel, and I think it should be monitored and that everyone should be taxed and fined if they get too close to it. And the people here who need fishing for a living hate that, so this was probably one of them who did it.
And that's where you get into suspects, which is great. Kind of like Katie's rivals being Holt Scotto.
Yeah!
Well, actually, Katie's rivals being everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Jenna Dublin, the inn and clam chowder restaurant runner.
I love Jenna. She's the best.
Jenna's great.
Let's just to say right now, Suspects and Mystery scored the same. 8th place both times. It's just a great all-rounder. The game feels lived in. One small touch that really helped that atmosphere. Atmosphere took number 1. I just noticed that. That's a big deal. Sylvia definitely had a say in that. She's from Pacific Northwest.
I had a say in that.
And so did I. Was this a unanimous agreement?
I think so. I loved that it was like this. It just had a small town, fisherman port island sort of feel. It's so unique and weird, and it accomplished it perfectly.
That is... Wow. Okay, so Suspects is 8-2.
So wait, where does this take place again?
The Pacific Northwest. It's on a little island off the coast of Washington
State. So it's like Seattle.
Yeah, it is, which is exactly where Sylvia is from.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's from Portland. Yeah. I know that she's from the Pacific Northwest.
Let's not dox her.
Well, but that's common knowledge.
That's it, because I've been looking at Seattle. I think it'd be an amazing place to live.
It's very rainy, so I hope you're prepared for that.
Yeah, that's sweet.
It's for the city that they go to solve the mystery in 7.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so Suspects, though. Holt Scotto. We gotta talk about him more than just shouting vote for Holt.
Yeah, he's great.
Holt is the perfect foil to the environmentalist Katie Firestone.
Candidate for Harbor Master who has a lot of powerful friends and allies.
He's a lifelong fisherman who's fished every sea for every kind of fish you can make money fishing for, as he says. He makes quizzes to prove your seamanship so that you can narrow down on who does and doesn't belong on the water. He's I don't want to say conservative, because that kind of ruins the charm of this game, but he's a very, I'm gonna make sure that we cut back on all this fancy whale protection shit. All that matters is the people and the economy, and we need to make sure we can fish without having to get the whales in the way. He's probably pro-whaling, let's be honest. And seal clubbing, too.
I feel like people are gonna think this is a rig because we're vote for Holt.
That's kind of true. I swear we didn't rig this. But if it were me, I would have put Blackmore Manor number 1 or Crystal Skull. I still can't believe that Ghost of Thornton Hall wasn't in the top 10.
I feel like I've never seen anybody who didn't like this game.
That's true. I'm sure there's people out there who didn't.
Who's a hater for Danger on Deception Island? What are you doing?
I didn't like this game when I was a kid because of one small thing, and it's probably why Puzzles ranked 15. It's one of the reasons, I'll bet. The many things that you need to fix that were vandalized in Katie's boat. By the way, Katie's boat is so cozy, and it's called the Orchestra, which is just such a cute name for a whale watching boat. But Katie's boat has a puzzle under the sink where you have to reconnect these pipes, and maybe it was just me being like a 9-year-old when I played this game, but I could not figure out where the pipes were supposed to connect. And you can't go to Whale World until you solve that puzzle. Because, I mean, kind of ridiculously, the culprit left their actual calling card at the scene of the crime with their name and phone number on it. But, oh gosh.
Okay, the music is so freaking good.
Top tier music.
It's so
catchy.
catchy.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
Dun 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 dun
Dun, 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 dun. Just to put a cap on puzzles were not remarkable in this game. But there's nothing that's truly abhorrent besides like the little memory game that you have to play 3 times in a row to get the thing from the toolbox.
I love the Royal Flush puzzle.
That was a good puzzle. You always sat down and played that one when we did playthroughs of this. Oh man, music in this game is just perfect. It's cinematic, it's moody.
It's perfect for the town, yeah.
It is. It's got its happy tracks, it's got its low tracks, and it's just so moody. I love it. It's foggy, and it's distant and forlorn in all the right ways. Have we mentioned the game is foggy? Look at the fog. The fog prevents you from progressing. It's in the thumbnail. It's so good. I mean, the music will be playing as we do this, so we won't dwell on that too long. Let's talk about why this is #1 atmosphere. It's the fog again.
No, there's like there's 4 main places you can go, which is like the beach and lighthouse, Katie's boat, dock area. Why am I forgetting the name of the inn? Like the
Hot Kettle?
The Hot Kettle
Cafe.
The Hot Kettle Cafe, of course. And then Whale World.
And
each one is full of personality, whether or not it's full of people or not. So like you just get exactly what this little town, this little fisherman port is all about. It's just this like secluded small little place, but you also get the feel it's this town where everybody knows each other's first names and everybody's good friends. And that's why the plot is so interesting. It's because Katie, who's already been a formidable figure in this town, has driven like this little knife in everyone's back in this tight-knit community.
And it's interesting because not just the fishermen who she's proposing this policy on is going to hurt them. It's the whale watcher, Andy, because they're business rivals, and it makes perfect sense.
But Andy always came off as like almost uncaring in a way, but like very like polite about the entire thing.
Yeah, he's a pretty middle of the road dude when it comes down to characters himself. Now, one thing I want to say that's important is that one thing I like that this game did, it was bold enough to do, is that it did not make 4 locations and 1 character at each one. The lighthouse is just a purely puzzle-driven location. You do run into Holt there towards the beginning, and he calls you Golly, and does like his whole "I'm Holt Scotto, get off my lighthouse" thing.
Oh, and also Casey Porterfield.
Porterfield, librarian.
And
Irina Predavichu. Yeah.
Yes, we had 2 great phone contacts.
But this game is not like the Haunted Carousel, where you have a map and you click to go from location to location. You also have underground tunnels that you unlock that go all over the town to places you didn't even think were relevant, and kayaking.
And you have a hidden cove, too, that you
check out. There's the hidden cove. That was a fun milestone, too. You make sandcastles. You can make sandcastles. How is this not #1 on atmosphere?
Sea caverns and stuff.
But
getting to the lighthouse.
The kayaking just added so much to the game. Number 9 for endings.
The ending is great.
Crazy ending.
Great. Getting onto that like carrier ship. Well, the end game starts when you come back and Katie's boat's gone.
That's really
That's
intense.
when it's like, oh shit.
It's like,
what's
hey,
going on?
all my luggage was on that boat.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, what's happening? I remember getting scared because danger music starts to play during that when that happens too.
It's very intense.
And you have to go out with the help of Andy Jason, and you find this huge carrier ship that you have to diligently sneak around on, and it's so great that they just throw this random foreign location at us, and it's like, all right, good luck. People will kill you here.
Oh my gosh.
And what's amazing is that it set it up perfectly to be Katie.
Oh my god, yeah, that was the complete bait and switch. I always forget that because I know who the culprit is, but
because that's amazing about this game too, is Katie's like supposed to be your friend. You're staying with her for vacation, but you never can cross her off the suspect list.
And right up until the last second, Kaylee was like floored by who the culprit was in this game. I remember she was really guessing to the last second.
Yeah.
And damn, it's a good
It would have
time.
been so bold if it was Katie.
That would have been pretty wild. My God.
Yeah, no, it was great. Because, yeah, when her boat's gone, it's like, well, shit, it's Katie. Shit, she's getting away.
And I love that, like...
And you even find her gloves, too.
And you have to go and tell everyone on the, everyone, like, I need you to take me out right now on your boat. And Holt is like, the fog's coming in. It'll be dark in 30 minutes. And it starts to really feel like an endgame, and it's intense.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
Perfect game.
Yeah, I mean...
It's number one for a reason.
I would not have thought that game number 9 would be number 1 on the whole list, but damn. I mean, do you agree that this is number 1? Is this one part of the list you agree with?
I didn't expect it, but yeah, I would say that it's a sleeper pick. It's like when you think of like, it just has no bad qualities to it. It doesn't have anything besides like atmosphere and music that's like best of all time. But then like when you start to think about it, it's like, wow, there's nothing bad about the game.
Yeah, I can
so
see
that's
that.
why it's number 1. And his Holt's got it, guys.
Oh man, do we have anything after this? I'm curious. Nope, that's our last screen. Well, special thank you to Kaylee and everyone for putting this all together. This was this was such a treat to go through. So many. It was just a trip down memory lane, really, because this series took us almost 2 years now to do. I mean, longer if you count from the first Nancy Drew review. By the way, if you ever go back and watch our Nancy Drew reviews, I hope you watch the better made ones, because a lot of them were made in an era... No, all of them were made in an era where we were editing off of a Dell Latitude laptop with a pirated copy of Sony Vegas 7. So it was pretty amateurish shit. Half the time, I think our mic was facing backwards, too, so we sound bad. But, I mean, it's all there if you want to go out and find it.
I mean, so I was just wanting to see the last score versus the best, so it was 30.5 to 7.5 was the range.
Wow, that's a lot of range.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, what is there even left to say? Julian... I mean,
thank you for 2,000 subscribers.
That as well. I made a post about that today. 2,000 subs, huge milestone. We did not think we were going to get anywhere near that when I uploaded a video of Ghost Dogs on Moon Lake with no commentary. That's just so exciting to me. Julian, this is a 7-part series that we have toiled through. It took us a long time, and I think we finally got our conclusion here. The answer of what is the objective best Nancy Drew game of all time is Danger on Deception Island. Except, you know, it's a flawed list, and Ghost of Thornton Hall belongs in the top 10, and Captain's Curse is probably not a top 5 game for everybody. So let us hear in the comments what you thought of this list. What would you have changed? What is something that you agree with? What is something that you hate and you despise? Who thinks that Shatter Medallion is the best game? That's what I want to know. Because somebody does. Somebody always does. Otherwise, Julian, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for making these lists with me. Let me shake your hand.
Yep.
It's been a fun time. As for what the channel holds from here, this is kind of our core mission finally completed. More Nancy Drew top 10s.
Yeah, more Nancy Drew lists, more walkthroughs with commentary.
And the occasional holiday stream. And we've also got some more fun stuff coming.
Yeah, we have a brand new series we're working on.
It's going to take a lot of work, though.
That is Nancy Drew related.
It is Nancy Drew related, don't worry. We're not just going to become Minecraft YouTubers and sell out to Fortnite and get our vote for Holt discount on G Fuel. So, but that would
be pretty cool.
We're going to do that by 2024, but baby steps.
Use code Holt on
for 10% off NordVPN. Don't forget to get Raid Shadow Legends. Oh my god. For real, you guys are the best. I mean, it's kind of surreal still that we grew up not so long ago just like watching Arglefump and the other Nancy Drew gamers like Hugh. I used to watch his playthroughs too. And Kalina and all the other people, and being like, this is a cool community. I'm gonna dip my feet into the making videos of this. And now it's I mean, we've made so many friends along the way, and some people kind of consider us to be with them now. And that's just so surreal still. I still can't get over that we got Arglefump for the endings episode.
I know.
Michael, you're a G for that one. That's great.
That was amazing.
Wow.
And there's gonna be many great memories to come too.
Yeah, be resting assured. I do want to say that Julian is going back to his college campus. It was a complete blessing to get him home for his internship this last semester, and we got them to have a lot of fun and make videos all throughout the fall. He'll be back in the summertime, fret not. In the meantime, I'll be playing a bit with Kaylee, and I'll be tackling some new mysteries and adventures and stuff, and I'll be making some forays into that new series we were talking about, which Julian will be helping me with from
From afar. I'll have some research to do.
Yeah, because he's going to need to help me. I can't do it myself. And on the whole, I mean, good things on the horizon, people. I hope you all enjoyed this list. I hope we didn't ruin it for too many people.
Yeah, I mean, it was very shocking, even for us, and we made the list. So.
This is going to be a good one to edit. I don't have to go through a monstrous list of gathering clips or anything. It's just a trip down memory lane. I think that's the way we always wanted it to be. So otherwise, we'll stop rambling now.
And don't forget, everybody.
Don't forget
to vote for Holt!
Vote for Holt! Thanks again for 2K and for sticking with us on this long, ramblesome journey. See ya.
Bye-bye.